good morning. Blessings, brother. Good morning, saints. Hope all is well.
Blessings. Everything is amazing.
Amen. You know what's especially amazing this morning? I got up and made my coffee already.
Oh, baby.
Fresh air. I woke up, I said, I got another day of life. Thank you, Jesus. Let me go get my coffee.
He's like, hey, and after you're done getting your coffee, go catch yourself go be a fisher of man and go catch yourself a man, bro.
I'm getting the rod ready right now.
Bro. Random guy's like, Trot, I broke my shovel, bro. Can I borrow yours?
Asked Mike Garcia to bring his the excavator he has.
Yeah, no joke, bro. He's like, dude, my shovel's a backhoe, bro.
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
Morning. CJ, it's been a long time since I've watched that first Hulk movie, brother.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
Hey, Dre, like Trot would say, I'm doing amazing.
Yeah, man, my energy level in the morning is like the Kool-Aid man, you know? He's like, oh yeah, Kool-Aid. Busting right through the walls, man.
I'm like that until like 12 o'clock, then it's nap time. You know, us retirees, we nap every day, all day, 3 times a day.
Yeah, what kind of retirement are you on? I don't nap. What's that for old folks? Just kidding. What's up?
What's going on?
What's going on, man? Everybody's so quiet. Don't say the R word.
Well, just walking into work.
Oh, you've been good with that. Forget it. That's already taken and destroyed. Not much, man. Just,
Yeah, I just say it out here. I just say it out here in the free world, out here in America. That's where I say it. Well, looks like the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl this year. So we'll talk about that.
Until they meet the 49ers in the playoffs. Then they're going to lose, bro.
Or
I'm in baseball
or
mode.
the
Texas and Houston.
Or the 49ers ain't even going to make it to the playoffs. How about that?
They're gonna make
I've seen some letdowns. Bro.
Hey, the
don't put
Cowboys.
your hopes up. What?
Hey, the Cowboys may beat them this Sunday, but when they meet again in the playoffs, bro, the 49ers are gonna own them Cowboys, bro.
Well, I tell you what. I say that We don't know
Man, I
what's
see
going to
y'all
happen,
lying this
but
morning
I'm
on the
not.
live. Y'all doing a bunch of lying already.
Yeah,
I can't believe this.
no, we telling the 100% truth,
I
sir.
ain't lying.
Something's wrong with your
I ain't
ers.
lying, bro. Yeah.
Something's wrong with your ers. I'm telling the truth. Cowboys all the way, baby. Hey, you know what? I think I'm gonna make a poster that's gonna say NFL championship of the world, Dallas Cowboys. I'm just not gonna put a date on it until they finally do it again. Then I'll put a date on there.
I'd be. Hey, I'm kind of interested to hear what Dre's got to say if he thinks we're lying here.
Hey, I said Cowboys are gonna win the championship, and a random guy said, "You done fell and bumped your head."
Yeah, there you
Hey,
go.
listen. If the Cowboys win the championship, bro. If the Cowboys win the championship, we all.
I didn't catch that. You
What'd
broke
he
up,
say?
bro.
Dre, what's been? Oh, he's not home, bro. My bad.
I said if the Cowboys win the Super Bowl, we all going to your house to party.
Okay, fair game. Venison on me. Venison on me.
That sounds like an
I got
awesome deal.
enough. I only got enough for about, let me see, maybe 50 head of cattle. So y'all don't come in any deeper than that.
Well, you
Or
better
I'll
go
be
beg
hungry.
yourself another deer then, buddy.
Man, I'm not going deer hunting for, let me see,
Hey, we just gonna have to eat some peacock.
probably another month. No, Trot done had that, Bubba. He fried that bad boy up.
Oh my God, bro.
He said they haven't won since 1998. Who's got it's been 1998, and how long ago is that?
95.
Somebody do the math.
1995, bro. 95.
Or whatever. 1990. Okay, 95.
It was against the Steelers.
So how many years has that been? I mean, it's not hard math.
That 20.
How many?
Yep, 27. Yeah.
Yeah, 27. Okay, so
I wasn't even
we'll
born when.
Either way, is there a team in the NFL? I mean, I know the answer. I'm just trying to see if anybody else knows the answer. Is there a team in the NFL that has never won a Super Bowl? Does that team exist? Or do those?
There's many of them.
Do those teams? Yeah. Do those
There's a couple
teams
of them,
exist?
bro.
Exactly. There's many. Exactly, bro. So don't
My
talk to me
Vikings
about
is
the
one of them.
last time, bro. There's teams that has never won a Super Bowl. Don't talk to me about how long it's been, but they at least won them. Period. Now, I can understand if the Cowboys, if all the football players were all vampires and none of them die, then you can make fun of the same
Hold
team.
on, try.
Every year, hold on a second. Every year is a different team. Every year it's a different team, bro. It's never the same team. What's up? Send it.
You're absolutely correct, Try. I got to give you credit on this one, man, because Big Ned up there talking trash, and his team has never won a Super Bowl.
I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know. I was like, is there a team that has probably never won? Now, I will say this. There's been, how many times have they been to the Super Bowl? Now, that I don't know. I'm honest. I'm being honest. I don't know. Big, how many times have they been to the Super Bowl?
Hey, hold on a second, guys. I'm talking to my boss real quick. Hold on.
Oh, my bad. How many? Do y'all know? Let me.
Who?
Bro, you could just say you're talking to your wife, bro.
What was the question?
How many times have the Vikings been to the Super Bowl?
Four times.
4 times.
They
Okay,
lost.
what was the
They
last
lost
year?
4 times.
What was the last year they went?
76, I think. 76.
76?
Yep.
Wow. That didn't. Okay, I didn't know that. Wow, it was in the 70s?
Yeah, dude, the Purple People Eaters, brother.
Purple people
Yeah,
eaters.
hey,
Yep, and they came up
who
short.
was who was the
I think.
who was the quarterback? Who was the quarterback in 76?
I think Fran Tarkenton. No, maybe not. Maybe not that. Well, maybe he was.
Okay.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was Frank Tarkenton. I think those were his final years, no? Double check.
Yeah. Random guy
Crazy
said
legs.
the Cowboys have been 8 times. That's not a bad record. At least they've been 8 times. Dre, what's your team again? I don't remember.
I think the Patriots.
It would be the Denver Broncos, sir.
Oh yeah, that's right, Broncos. How many Super Bowls they got, Dre?
I believe they got three. Three. Shut your mouth. It's three. Shut your mouth. It's three.
How many does the Cowboys got?
It's three, bro. They won two
Cowboys
all the way
have
back to back, and they won one with Peyton Manning. What are you talking about? It's three.
Yeah, but how many? Yeah, but how many
Yeah,
does the
forgot
Cowboys
about the
have?
Peyton
How many
Manning. You're right.
How many Cowboys got though?
I mean, the Cowboys won Super Bowls with two Florida boys. Y'all needed three Florida boys. Y'all needed
So how many? But how many Super Bowls? But how many Super Bowls do they have? How many Super Bowls do they have?
I think they got five. I think they got
Five.
Oh, is it
Pittsburgh,
five?
I think, got the most. No?
Oh, so they got more than the Broncos.
Hey, how
Okay.
many do the
I mean,
Steelers
since we're
have?
talking
I think
about
the
Let's
Steelers.
see if they let us
historical events here.
in the USO. Come on.
I think the Steelers have 6.
Who's got the most? That's what I want to know. Now that I don't know. Who's got the most?
That'd be Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh with 6. Steelers
Land the plane. The women are already pulling on our ears already, man.
I think the Steelers have 6.
All right. Well, Tom Brady as an individual has 6, but as a team, which NFL team has the most Super Bowl wins is the question.
Yeah, it's the Steelers. The Steelers have 6.
One more day and I get out of jail. Oh, man, dude, they're already coming up. All right, guys, there's 3 of us. There's 3
Here
of
comes
us,
the
guys.
ladies. Hold them down. Hold them back. Hold the line. Stonewall.
The Bears.
Jessica's gonna come in with like that 2-edged sword, bro. She's gonna cut right through it.
Jessica, what's up?
Guys, I got a question, guys. Good morning, sister.
As soon as I have the baby dropped off at daycare, we better have our act together and got the Bible open and.
How much time we got? CJ said there's 4 of you. Well, I'm saying there's 3 of us because I know Dre's on the road and he's coming in and out. CJ.
Yeah. And I'm going to be walking the dog soon.
Okay, so there's only 2 of us. It's not good odds. Here. And Tammy done. I think I done got slapped in the back of the head twice by Tammy already. NFL biblical times right there. Random guy said we discussed it NFL biblical times. Oh man, Team Moses. Oh man, dude. Oh man. Yeah, buddy. Let me see. All right. I'm just trying to get set up her. All right, so we are going to be finishing up Job today. Now, I did say that Victoria, what's up? I did say that we were going to finish Job yesterday, but man, there's just so much, dude. There's just so much in there, and guys, don't forget. All right, don't forget. I don't understand how people forget that the black letters on the white page have an important role, 100% important. You know, when we talk about like the poetry or the rhema, the word of God, that does not take away the black letters on the white pages. It doesn't take it away. If you're doing calculus, that does not take away fundamentals of math just because you're doing calculus. The fundamentals of math, right? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, right? Those fundamentals were a foundation that led you to the understanding to even get calculus, right? To start playing around with calculus and things of this nature. But you know, you never forget the fundamentals ever, right? Any sport that you play, let's see, any sport that you play, it started with fundamentals. Every sport, right? They led you to, let's say, if you went all the way, if you went pro, right? Without those fundamentals, you wouldn't have went pro. Now, I know people from like, you know, from third world countries, you know, they're going to say, man, all I needed was a stick and a Coke bottle cap. Yeah, I get that. You may not have had what's called, you know, formal training. You may not have had that, but you had a fundamental somewhere along the way. You had to start swinging the stick, bat, whatever, rake, whatever it was. You had to start somewhere. So don't kid yourself. There was 100% a start to the game that you have perfected / mastered. There was a start. And then I'm telling you right now, you only reap what you sow. You only get what you put into it. So God's laws, as far as understanding, still is consistent with seed time and harvest. The seed has to be planted. That's why Paul said one plants a seed, right? One plants a seed. No different than you planting a seed outside in the ground. Someone has to stick a seed in the ground and someone has to water it, right? It has to grow. The process has to take its path, man. The process has to happen. So, you know, every one of us has to start with the ground. All of us has to start as a ground. The seed has to be planted. I keep saying this because I keep hearing certain things. People are saying certain things, and it's like the idea of the fundamentals are kind of being shunned. Have I told you about my 2 dog trees? I don't recall anyone talking about dog trees. I don't recall. Oh, fig trees. I'm sorry. Is that what you said? My bad. Fig trees. Yeah, no, I don't recall anyone talking to me about their personal fig trees. I will say this, man. My brother, dude, he used to come home with like a whole bag, like I don't know, like a Walmart sack, I guess, the plastic sacks. You know, he used to come home with them full of figs, dude. I mean, just ripe, amazing figs. Man, I'd eat them. I'd eat about 5 or 10 of them a day. You don't want to eat too many. You can get the bubble guts real quick. You eat too many of them things. But I used to love fig Newtons. And I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest right now. If you don't know what happens to a lot of figs, Now, I know people have an argument where it's like, well, it's not every fig, it's not on every continent, whatever. Okay. Maybe if you have your own fig tree, maybe you can get away from that. But there are these bugs, like these hornets, some kind of bee, that go inside of figs. And I can't remember the process, so forgive me if I'm not explaining this well. But they go inside of a fig, and they don't know how to get out, so they die in there, and apparently it happens to a lot of figs. And so, I just can't imagine biting into a fig Newton, and I just kind of. Now, don't get me wrong, I've eaten bugs before. What Victoria said, a wasp. Yeah, okay, or a wasp, some sort of wasp that goes in there. Now, obviously, I think I need to do more research to see if there's a way, like a place that I can buy fig Newtons where this doesn't happen. I love fig Newtons, were like my number one, dude. And then a few years ago, somebody brought that to my attention. And like I said, I've eaten plenty bugs. Like, I'm not even kidding. I've eaten plenty of them. And I don't recall saying, oh man, they're just so appetizing. I don't ever remember saying that. I just remember doing it just to kind of, is in a process of, just kind of learning. No point in getting into details. I was just learning how to do something, and excuse me, how do you do something, and or how do you get used to doing something unless you at some point start doing it, right? So, but no, I don't recall that question. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Sorry about my digress there, but so, I don't think I harp enough on how important it is to understand the black letters on the white page. It is vital. It is very important. The thing that I do say is the stories in the Bible. Okay, I'm talking about the black letters on the white page, the stories. Guys, that has to get rooted and understood. The stories have to be understood. The Rhema part is not seen if that part's not understood. Okay, it's going to be hard. You can get frustrated, and it's because you're still in the process of the seed being planted and being watered. And then you look at someone else, some fruit dangling from their tree. What you don't understand is they've already had the word, the seed, right? The stories of the black letters on the white page. They've already had them planted. They've already been watered. Do you understand? So if someone started doing something before you, it's not always true unless we're talking about very specific time. So let's say if someone has 10,000 hours of studying, I'm just making up a number, okay? If someone has 10,000 hours of studying, like getting the stories understood, they know the characters in the Bible. They can repeat the stories to you without looking at it, without opening the Bible. They can tell you the characters, what happened, what people said, just like you do with your favorite movie. The black letters on a white page have to be like that. You have to understand the whole thing like your favorite movie. That should not be hard to understand. So that's why I say if you don't have time to read it, you need to get an audible Bible. And if you don't know what an audible Bible is, it means someone it's a recording that's playing the Bible and you're listening to it. You need to get, whoever you are, you need to get an audible Bible and let it be read to you while you're cooking. There's so much time that you can be using this. You don't always have to be in a physical book reading. Now, first of all, I love to do that. But I'm telling you right now, it would be better to have someone read it to you while your hands are full and you're kind of busy, but you can at least listen. It would be better for you to do that than keep waiting to have an hour. I'm telling you right now, this thing needs to be played over and over. Guys, these stories are the stories that will never be old. For eternity, these stories will never be old. They will always be true. They will always be present, always. The movies that we've come to memorize are going to be trashed and burnt up and forgotten. So if we're going to use our, some of you may have a one gig or a 1 terabyte. Me, I got 15 megabytes. But if you want to have a room for the Bible, some of that other stuff just gonna have to go, man. Instead of meditating on your favorite opera show for 4 hours a day, you can exchange that for some word in your life, right? So the quicker, this is not something that can be rushed, but you can keep up with it daily, right? So if every day you're listening to another story, listening to something else every day, the quicker you're going to get to the rhema, the fruit of this word that only comes when the black letters on the white page start coming together and making sense, and you have a memory of what's taking place in the Bible, so it can harmonize with God's word. Because just focusing on what you're reading, I'm sorry, that is not the complete truth. The rhema part is true. It is 100% true. I can clearly tell that there are some people that are bothered by that. They've been reading the Bible for 20 years or whatever, and they've never truly gotten into the rhema. And then so they hear people discussing, the God-breathed part of the word, and there's an offense. They'll get offended, and they'll say things like, "Oh yeah, the shadows are there." I mean, God, yeah, Jesus is all there, but yet you don't ever hear them talk about it. They just agree with you that they're there, and it's so evidently clear that the reason that they only talk about the black letters on the white page is because they haven't gone any further than that. They haven't. So there's no such thing about, secret words or hidden. It's not about that. It's about understanding Proverbs 25:2 that tells us that God conceals a thing, and he shows us in the word where they're. He shows us. So, I don't understand why people are, when we start talking about parables and these things of this nature, they're all true. There are parables, and not everybody understands the parables. That's not new news. That's not new to sit there and laugh and say, all these parables and stuff that's hidden. Most Christians know that that's true. That is not a new thing. That's not a new thing, man. That is a very old concept. That there are things that are not easily seen in the Bible. Even Paul tells us that. So, but me personally, and I'm sure there's others that run into people that have no idea what you're talking about. They have no idea, and they try to act like they don't. And then they try to act like what you're seeing is not true. That's not true. It's like, oh my Lord. Okay, it's not true. You don't argue with them, but if they don't see it, they don't see it. And another thing, if someone doesn't see, the rhema, if they don't see parables and understand them, don't tell somebody they don't have the Holy Spirit. Don't do that. About 3-4 days ago, I heard 3 or 4 days ago, I heard some people talking, and one of the persons I kind of know a little bit. The other one I don't know at all. And they were talking about that, if you can't see these things, you don't have the Spirit, and that's not true either. There's people that do get baptized in the Holy Spirit, but they're a little lazy, and they're not digging in the Word like they should be. Okay, and I'm going to put it that way. That's the reason. Now, if they say, well, I'm not lazy, I read it all the time. Okay, fine. Maybe that's not you. So obviously, I'm not talking about you. Hey, look, guys, come on. If the shoe fits, if the shoe doesn't fit, you don't get mad at somebody because they're talking generally. Okay, I'm saying generally, there are going to be people that are lazy. They're saved, they're baptized with the Holy Spirit, and for whatever reason, they're focused on something very specific in the Bible, and they like talking about that for 10 years. Or, in my opinion, you're going to be held back from a lot of things in the Bible because you just want to do that one little thing, which I don't know why you would, but there's people that are like that. You can't speak for people on why they're not seeing these things. You can't do that. What you do know is they are true. They are there. And when someone says, well, I don't see it, I don't know what else to tell you. I really don't. Well, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But what I do know is when you're understanding. But again, that's another part, right? There's a group that don't want to see it. There's a group that's lazy. There is a group that hasn't been baptized in the Holy Spirit, right? That's true also. So there are going to be people that don't see this because they haven't been baptized in it. They don't have the Spirit of God. That is 100% true, that there are some people. But what you have to be careful is quit trying to put everybody in the same category. It's not 100% of people that don't have the Spirit, 100% are lazy. No. Some are lazy. Some don't have the Spirit. Some don't want to see it. Some let the Bible get in their way of what they already believe. There's many reasons, okay? But to say that it's not there is just hilarious, bro. Like, it is so evidently clear that it's there. Now, again, granted, for some people, they don't want it to be true, or it's not true, or they don't have the Spirit. And when we go through all the categories again, but if someone doesn't see it, the only thing you need to say to them is, okay, well, I pray that you do see it one day. That's it. I pray that you do. Or you don't even have to say it to them. You just pray. If it's not there, don't argue. Don't argue with them, and don't call out one of the examples that they could be. We don't know which one it could be. I'm really not going to go study you for 10 years to figure out what your problem is, because remember, we're all one body, one Spirit. Things become a lot more simple when you remember that if someone is saved, they're part of the body, period. They're part of the body. So, it's not. Yeah, what's up?
The brother random in the comments, I was trying to ask you a question, but I don't understand it, so I can't really ask the question for him. So let me see.
All right.
It says, Trot, how do you feel about people being called to minister non-salvation issues? So I don't know what that means.
Okay, I found it. Thank you. Let me see. All right, yeah, here it is right here. Trot, how do you feel about people, quote unquote, being called to minister non-salvation issues? What do I feel about people being called to minister that? Yeah, here's the thing. Anybody can say that that's what they're called to do, right? What's the easiest way to defend what you do? Think about it. The easiest way to defend to other people, the easiest way to defend, I'm going to say it again, to defend what you're doing to other people is to make it to where someone cannot denounce it, right? That's the easiest way. How do you stop a conversation? You make it to where people cannot come against it. And so you say things like, well, God told me that I'm called to talk about this. So basically now what they're doing is they put a little shield there that if you tell them, no, you weren't or whatever, now you're coming against God. So what they do is they make it to where you have to come against God, right? That's how they make it, you know? So, but the question is, how do I feel about people that are quote unquote being called to minister non-salvation issues? Well, I don't have anything to say to those people at all, to be honest with you. I do know that the Bible tells us to go and make disciples. That's what I do know. And so the question would be, are they making disciples, doing this? I'm being called to minister salvation issues. They might say, yeah, but their fruits is just not the characteristic of the person. Fruits is also, what is coming from them, the people around them and things of that nature. You can't force people to understand everything that you're saying. You can't force them. You can't force people to behave. That's another thing. Somebody was telling me, sometimes people that go up on your panel, sometimes they're this kind of person or they're that kind of person. And I'm like, what? So? And, I said, why don't you just love them anyway? And literally within a minute, the conversation was over because they're realizing that they're just gossiping and they're just talking bad about someone who is claiming to be a Christian.
Well,
and
that's because your daddy Trot, bro. So they want you to spank us.
Yeah, well, it's just it's just ridiculous. Again, we lose the fundamentals in life whenever we become a Christian. The fundamentals are still relevant. You're still supposed to be kind and loving, not perfect, but you have to be able to draw a line somewhere. Just because someone's disagreeing with you on something, it doesn't mean that that's when you start calling them Satan and all this junk. Like it's crazy. What do you do in your house with your spouse? Is that what you do to your spouse? Just try to figure out how to start a fight all day with the person you live with? Like that's what I see. Why would you come up here to a bunch of people that you hardly know and call them and Satan as soon as you get a chance that maybe they're not agreeing with something you're saying, or maybe they just don't want to believe something you're saying. Well, if you don't believe this, you're going to hell. And you're like, what? Like, bro, I don't understand. Like that right there that's crazy to me, to be honest. You'll never hear me call someone. Do what? No, what?
So people try to get people into behavior changes, and it doesn't work like that. I mean, they won't change in that way. They might change for a short period of time, but they'll always fall back into what manipulation doesn't work, and people try.
Yeah, and that's exactly what that is. It's the Cleopatra way of living. Going around and trying to figure out how to manipulate everything to go your way, and telling people that that they're Satan. What's up, YOLO, man? What's going on, bro?
What's going on, guys?
He's like, yo, that's why they call me YOLO. Yo. He's like from the down under.
I agree. Yeah, I agree 100%. You just gotta let it go, basically. We're all saved and we all have different opinions. We can argue for days. That's kind of why I just let it go, basically. I could get into it.
Yeah, I mean...
But, that's it, basically. I'm not going to get into it. There's no point.
You do? And I'm telling you, a lot of these people that become Christians, I just want to take all of them and stick them in this big sandbox and tell them, hey, these are all the toys y'all get, and just let them get it out of their system. Like, you should already have learned that just because you're screaming that little Johnny's got your He-Man, doesn't mean you're going to get it back. It's like, bro, you can call little Johnny all the names in the book. You can throw sand in his face. All it's going to do, if you haven't learned this, it's going to make him hold on to the He-Man tighter. That's what's going to happen, and hit you in the head. You're already crying as it is. Now you got a black eye because little Johnny's stronger than you. I mean, I don't understand this. It's ridiculous. And I'll get an invite to go to certain live, and every once in a while I'll hop in there, and if it ain't one thing, it's another. I go in there, and everybody's throwing sand, and all I see is 50 people in the sandbox pulling on Ninja Turtle and Donatello's legs, and someone else pulling on the head, and I'm like, so far, how did y'all not learn? Like, what phase in life did you miss that you haven't learned already, that this is not how it works? What happened? And if it ain't, so when I said if it ain't one thing, it's another. So if it's not that, then I get in there and someone's like, Trot's here, hey, get up here and argue with me now. And I'm like, oh, one thing's another, bro. Like, but it's the same thing. It's the same behavior, you'll have people ask questions.
Do they give you the line like, if you're a man, you will come up here? If you're a man, you're gonna come up here. I love when they tell me. Oh,
they give all the lines.
I love
they give all the lines. If you're a man, if you're a man like you say you are, you'll get up here. Or they'll say, how that one guy said, he's like, I can't remember the way he worded it, but what he was basically saying is, you should be able to answer every question. And I'm like, number one, I don't even know who you are. Number one. Number two, the question you're asking me, I don't even know why you're asking that question. Like, you got me confused with someone else. That question don't even make sense to me. I can understand if the question made sense. The question made no sense to me. I'd be like someone asking me, and I'm going to bring up the most random thing. It'd be like someone coming up to me saying that if I met Denzel Washington, let's say I go on a vacation and it's at one of the sail resorts, and I met Washington, Jay Pickett Smith. I met both of them there, and they're like, "Who'd be the first one you'd get an autograph from?" Like, bro, I don't even talk about that kind of stuff. Like, that question has nothing to do with stuff that I talk about on live. But this is the kind of question this person was asking me. I was like, what? I was like, bro, I don't even know you. Yeah, man. Yeah. You talk about this, and they talk about some biblical things. And what does that question that you asked me have anything to do with that? Yeah, but I'm asking, and you got to answer to people's questions. And I'm like, bro, I don't know what kind of live y'all invited me into, but y'all have a good one. I'm out. Like, I have no idea what this dude's talking about. And sometimes it's it too. Don't get it twisted.
Then I'm rude and I'm prideful. I'm like, what?
Yeah. And so they'll try to manipulate you any way they can to get you to talk about whatever, and I'm like, bro, you're not going to manipulate me. It's madness, but I'm saying all that to say, again, is the audio choppy for anyone? No, I think it's only choppy when Drake comes up. Okay, Jennifer, done talking about not. Let me ask Steph. Hey, Steph, does it choppy to you? Steph, I'm asking Steph.
You're coming choppy on me now.
Yeah, you're choppy.
Sounds a little choppy. Even right now? It's choppy right now?
Not right now. Not right now, no. No.
Okay. All right. I'm not sure. Maybe I was, I don't know, maybe I was a little too far from the mic or whatever.
Ray, you think he was swinging on the
don't know.
chair, his legs back and forth, and it was hitting the wire?
Oh, is that what it was? Let me see. Let me see. Let me see.
Jordan said, "Can we get the job?"
Hold on. Stop moving everywhere. Hey, I'm in the room running around. I think you're right when you said that about Dre. Let's see if it stays better. Oh, I think everybody's kind of just giving their opinion on. Okay, apparently it's better now. Yeah. So, but I'm saying all that because it goes all the way back to people talking about. And random guy just, he asked a question about, and I know why he asked. Maybe not random guy. I probably don't know specifically what you're talking about, but I am speaking in a general way about any of those type of conversations. The Bible says to make disciples. So if people says, well, I'm not making disciples, I'm going to talk about this. Well, making disciples, you can call it whatever you want. He said, go ye and make disciples. The Bible tells us to give freely as it has been given. And if you don't know what has been given freely, then I'm not really sure what you're reading. But, Dre, what did you say? Jordan said, can I have the job? What? Sorry.
He said, "Can we get on job?"
Oh, can we get on job? Oh, yeah. So, where did we leave off? Are we on 41? I feel like we're on 41. Anybody?
We were on 38, Drop. When you were talking about 38.
I thought we was on 40, bro. I thought we was on 40.
I thought we was on 41. Yeah.
No, 40. You said review 40.
Let me see. Moreover, the Lord answered Job and said, no, 40's got the behemoth, guys. I went over the behemoth like for 20 minutes. So we read 40. We are on 41.
Yes.
53. Mike said we're on 53. All right, let's go find Job 53. That'd be the second book of Job. We're in the second book of Job.
Mike's funny.
Find that
He's
by
silly.
the Apocryphus.
Yeah. So,
Sorry,
all right. So we're gonna. Sorry, 72. No, 72's in Job. That's the third book. The third book of Job. All right. So we're gonna be in 41. Sorry. Who's able to read where your background doesn't sound like you're on a roller coaster?
Give me a minute. It's coming up now.
All right. So.
My Bible.
No, why don't you have a King James Version Bible, bro?
I actually ordered it. I ordered the new one. I should be getting it next week. It's the
He likes the baby Bible. He likes the baby Bible.
Nah, yeah, I like the illustrations on it. No, I like. I ordered the new King James. Well, it's the King James with the Amplified together. So Aaron had showed me it. A couple of people already had bought it. But
53.
Yeah, that's an awesome. Do what, Steph? What you say?
41. Never mind.
Oh,
I'm pulling it
yeah,
up.
it's 41. Yeah, well, Bill, if you don't have the King James Version, bro, I need someone that's got the King James Version. Bill, if you're our last resort, you'll be able to read. That's fine, but nobody else has a...
pulled up first. I'm just having a slow delay over here ever since yesterday.
No, you're good. If
Background is too
you're
loud,
good,
bro.
if you're not...
Otherwise, I would do it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, you sound like you're at the state fair or something. No, you're good.
Is my background loud? Because I can read.
Right now it sounds fine. If it becomes loud, I'll just mute you and then tell someone else to read. But
Okay.
Aaron said if you need
you
read. Aaron's in the bottom.
All right, well, Aaron, if you want to, if your background is not loud, You can come up and read 42. Steph is going to read 41. So you can work yourself to a quiet room and a clean room. Make sure that you're wearing your white gown, and that way we can all stand up in the presence of the Lord when you're reading. Okay, so
You better have
Steph,
your
whenever you're
ephod
ready.
on.
That's right. Put your ephod on, man. What's wrong with you?
All right, 41. Canst thou draw out Leviathan with an hook, or his tongue with a cord which thou lettest down? Canst thou put a hook into his nose, or bore his jaw through with a thorn? Will he make many supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Will he make a covenant with thee? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever? Wilt thou play with him as with a bird, or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? Shall the companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants? Can thou fill his skin with barbed irons, or his head with fish spears? Lay thine hand upon him. Remember the battle, do no more. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him? None.
Hey, Steph.
Yeah.
Hey, Steph. Your voice is amazing. I just don't think we need to be listening to Mary Poppins in the background at the same time.
Okay, I'll
Is it?
stop.
Now, obviously, if there's kids there, I don't think you need to go to another room. I don't want there to be like this half of your house being burnt down because we're reading the Bible over here.
I got it.
Yeah, let
If
Bill
you
read.
want. Yeah. Okay.
All right,
Wait,
Bill.
you want me to start from the beginning?
No, Steph, where did you stop? I know you read 7.
10.
Let me
Sorry.
see. Behold him. Okay, so Bill, just start at 8.
Yeah.
Okay. Lay thy hand upon him. Remember the battle. Do no more. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him? None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand up before me? Who has prevented me that I should repay him? Whosoever is under the whole heaven is mine. I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely proportions. Who can discover the face of his garment, or who can come to him with his double bride? Who can open the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about. His scales are his pride, shut up together as with a closed seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. They are joined one to another, they stick together, that they cannot be sundered. By his neesing, a light does shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. 20. Out of his nostril goeth smoke, as out of a seething pot of cauldron. His breath kindles coals, and flames goes out of his mouth. In his neck remaineth strength, and sorrow is turned into joy before him. The flakes of his flesh are joined together. They are firm in themselves. They cannot be moved. His heart is as firm as stone, yea, as hard as a piece of the neither millstone. When he raises up himself, the mighty are afraid. The mighty are afraid by reason of breaking purifying themselves. The sword of him that layeth at him cannot hold the spear. The dart nor the habergeon He esteemeth iron as straw, and brass as rotten wood. The arrows cannot make him flee. Sling stones are turned with him into stubble. Darts are counted as stubble. He laughs at the shaking of a spear. Sharp stones are under him. He spreadeth sharp pointed things upon the mire. He maketh the deep to boil like a pot. He maketh the sea like a pot of ointment. He maketh a path to shine after him. One would think the deep to be hoary. Upon earth there is not his like, who is made without fear. He beholdeth all high things. He is a king over all the children of pride.
All right. So basically describes now there's a couple of parts where he's not actually talking about Leviathan, but basically 41 is talking about Leviathan, right? And so notice in 40 he talks a lot about the behemoth, right? And then in 41 he talks about Leviathan. So what is the Leviathan? What is that? Anybody?
Literally? Like it sounds like a beast.
Okay, yeah, fine. We can do that. Literally, what is the Leviathan? Literally.
I don't know anything other than it seems like it's a massive beast that is very protected by these scales.
Because the way he's talking about this thing, if you can read, he's literally saying you can't even catch it, like you can't grab it. That's what it says. So I've read lots of translations that say that it's like a big lizard or like a huge crocodile or something, right? But the reason that doesn't make any sense is because there are men that can catch 20-foot crocodile with their bare hands. Okay? Now, don't get me wrong. I understand 100% that it could be talking about, the megalodon crocodile or whatever you call the prehistoric. I'm just saying like the huge, what? I hate how choppy this is getting. It's getting choppy again.
You sound fine to us.
Okay.
Great, Trot. You have no problem, bro. I'm at the airport. You sound good.
All right. So, yeah. Well, then it's TikTok, guys. It has to be, guys. If you have to get out of the live, and like, you know how you can like get out of completely and then come back into it. Try that. Like, get out of TikTok. Don't just swipe out of it. Like, take it off your screen and everything. I'm not talking about deleting the app. I'm saying swipe it out of your memories or whatever you call it, and then hit the app again to get it to reboot itself back to clear the cache. Yeah, clear your cache. If you don't know how to do that, you need to get with somebody here that can show you how to go to your cache. And there's two of them. And one of them says if you clear it, that it could ruin some memory. I don't ever clear that one. I might need on that myself, but
I clear it. I clear both of them. I clear the data and the cache. Go into your settings and it says free up space. Scroll until you see free up space. Click on the free up space, and then you see.
Bill. We're not trying to give a class right now. Okay, y'all need to DM each other, have the conversation. Offline, not right now. We're going to continue what we're doing. There's too many people saying that it's fine and there's a very few of y'all that is saying it's choppy. So it's either TikTok itself, which means it's not me. It has nothing to do with me if I'm coming clear. It could be because of your app, your phone. It may not be your signal, but obviously it's on your end. So about Leviathan, yeah.
I got it on the Strongs. I got it on the Strongs number H 3882.
Yeah, go ahead. What does it say?
It's a serpent, or a sea monster or dragon, and it's mentioned 6 times in the Bible.
Yeah, where are those 6?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to it right now.
All right.
Okay.
Where are those? Yeah, it's mentioned a few times. Yep. So we'll look at those. We will look at those few.
Thing that it's mentioned 6 times.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Yeah, hold on, bear with me.
Yeah, it's just a coincidence.
Yeah, I just got it started here. It always does this. I gotta get a new system. Okay, bear with me.
All right. Well, if it's going to take you all day, we can just.
Yeah, no. Go ahead, move on. Once I find it, I'll tell you.
All right. Who's got all the? Okay, so is everybody giving up on what the Leviathan is? Anybody in the chat can tell us what the Leviathan is?
To me, it's describing what we perceive as a dragon. You know, it says the sparks come from its mouth.
Yeah.
That you'll be cast down at the sight of him.
Yeah.
You know, would you even think of trying to bind him? Like, canst thou put a hook into his nose or bore his jaw through with a thorn? Yeah, so to me, it's a beast that man seemingly can't overcome, and I know that isn't in line with what we know about what's said in the Word. So,
yeah, but there's nothing wrong with discussing it as, you know, in a carnal way at first, because what's going to end up happening is eventually you're going to have this. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Okay. Any Christian that uses their heart to read the word, there is going to be this. It's going to be a still small voice that's asking you, what is it? It's going to ask, why would God speak for a whole chapter 41? Do you not realize how many words are in this chapter? How long it takes for one? Are you not paying attention to how long of a description this is? And someone's going to tell me that it's just trying to describe to you a big fish in the ocean. That's all it's trying to describe.
I found those if you need it.
All right, let's go. Let's do it quickly.
All right, Job 3:8. It says, "Who are prepared to rouse the Leviathan, to raise up their mourning," right? And then Hebrew 41 we just read. Canst thou draw out Leviathan with a hook? With and a hook. Psalm 74:14 says, the heads, plural, of Leviathan in pieces and gaveth.
Psalms, what Hebrew? Yeah. Hold on. What was the address in Hebrews again?
Hebrew. What do you mean? The Hebrew Strong's Hebrew H3 3882.
Hold on. You said Hebrew, and then you started reading one. Why did you say the word Hebrew?
No. I said Job 3:8.
Bro, you said Hebrews.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You did say Hebrew.
No, yeah, I'm sorry.
You said
Job.
Hebrews.
Yeah,
okay.
My bad. It's Job 3:8 in the King James, to raise up their mourning.
No, before that,
Job
Bill.
41. He said Hebrews 41:1. He meant Job.
Right, that it's Job 41:1. He says, "Canst thou draw
Okay.
out Leviathan with an hook?"
No, I know what the one in Job says. So if you're
Right.
saying that you didn't mean to say Hebrew, all right. So what did you read after Hebrew?
After Job 41, which we just read, then Psalm 74:14. Psalm 74:14.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Psalms 74. Let me go to
14.
that one real quick. 74:14. All right.
It becomes meat, inhabiting the wilderness.
Yeah, but you need to read. Starting at 11. So I'll read Psalm 74:11. It says, "Why withdrawest thou thy hand, even thy right hand? Pluck it out of thy bosom. For God is my King of old, working salvation in the midst of the earth. Thou didst divide the sea by the strength. Thou breakest the heads of the dragons in the waters. Thou breakest the heads of Leviathan in pieces, and gavest him to be meat to the people inhabiting the wilderness. Thou didst cleave the fountain and the flood. Thou driest up mighty rivers." So the reason that it's important to understand poetry, right? The way certain things are said, symbolisms. The reason it's important to understand that is because, number one, we're talking about a creature that's in another book completely. The Leviathan's in Job, because that's where we're at. So we go find Leviathan here in Psalm 74, and notice the characteristics. Notice how this animal, notice that the setting, notice where they're putting this animal here. Notice that this animal goes along with it's going to go along with something in the story in its entirety. So let's look at how it's here in Psalms. So it says, so I'm going to point out let me just start at 74:1 so we can look at so this whole thing's talking about relief, right? It's a plea of relief. It says, "O God, why hast thou cast us off forever? Why doth thine anger smoke against the sheep of thy pasture? Remember thy congregation, which thou hast purchased of old, the rod of thy inheritance, which thou hast redeemed, this Mount Zion, wherein thou hast dwelt." So many things being said right here. It says, "Remember thy congregation, which thou hast purchased." There's only one city, one group that God paid the price for. And if you don't know what that is, then I'm not understanding why. What are you not getting out of the Bible? How are you not understanding what you're reading? What is holding you back? What is stopping you from not seeing what this is saying? So listen, the black letters on a white page are very true. They're very important. So when we go back and say, well, Milik of Asphath, wrote this. Well, David wrote part of it, and you start arguing about who wrote it. And so we start reading it and go, bro, this is talking about David. This ain't talking about right now. How in the world are you still not seeing that every story of these people who had real lives, how are you not seeing that the way it's written out, that it's still relevant today in the poetry? Understand what I'm saying? In the poetry, it's relevant. So people don't understand. They don't. So clear that they still don't get it. It is so easy to see your side, my friend. It is so easy to say, man, this is talking about people 5,000. No, duh, bro. No, duh. It's talking about people 5,000 years ago or whatever year you want to put on this, whatever. No, duh, man. Quit. Let's stop arguing about who this is talking about specifically. It is so easy who it's talking about, the people in these days back here. I get that. But what is stopping you from seeing that the poetry is still relevant today? How I don't understand this. It's still relevant. We are the congregation. Listen, right here. Remember thy congregation which thou hast purchased of old, the rod in thy inheritance. If you know that the rod of God is Christ, I'm not understanding how the poetry's still not clicking. You claim you read the Bible for 20 years and you still don't see this. You know how I know that they don't see it? Because they don't talk about it. They just constantly say, oh, yeah, poetry's there. Oh, yeah, Jesus is in the shadows. Oh, yeah. Where? I don't ever hear you saying it. Oh, well, there's other things of importance. Oh, my God. If it's there, it's important. If it's there, it's important. You're lying is the problem. You're lying. You're coming into agreement with it because you know it's true, but you yourself are not digging it up. It is very important to dig it up. The rod of thy inheritance, which thou hast redeemed, this Mount Zion. Bro, at Mount Zion is where all this occurred. The law was given at Mount Sinai. At Mount Zion is when the Spirit was given. The promise was given, the Comforter. Wherein thou hast dwelt, hast redeemed. He has redeemed us. This Mount Zion where thou hast, dwelt. It says, lift up thy feet, the perpetual desolations, even all that the enemy has done wickedly in the sanctuary. Thine enemies roar in the midst of thy congregation. They set up their insignias and signs. A man was famous according as he had axes, excuse me, upon the thick trees. But now they break down carved wood thereof. And this whole thing is a cry of relief. These people are crying out of relief. And so we get all the way down to 11. Let me see. Hold on, just give me a second. Let me go to
the house. Could you have Aaron read? Aaron, could you read until I get back?
Okay, so let's go to 9. It says, "We see not our signs. There is no more any prophet, neither is there among us any that knoweth how long. O God, how long shall the adversary reproach?" Who's the adversary?
Satan.
Okay, so Satan's adversary. How long shall the adversary reproach? Shall the enemy blaspheme thy name forever? It is very clear that 74 is an outcry. It is so clear. It says, why withdrawest thou thy hand? That's talking about Christ. Remember, when Christ came, when the fulfillment of him came, guys, the fulfillment, how many times does he say that he will never leave nor forsake us? How many times does he say that? He says it a lot, okay? And then he says, fear not. He's talking to us in a way that how it was in the old, it is no longer, okay? It is no longer today. It's no longer. It's not the same. So the black letters on a white page are talking to the people in those days, but the word is always present. The word is. And so if you think the black letters on the white page is the word, that's why you're confused, because you think I'm saying the word and the word. So you hear me say black letters on a white page, you hear the word of God, and then I say the word of God, and you're confused because you think everything's the word. Everybody in the Old Testament, they were not the word of God. David himself, the man, is not the word of God. He's a shadow of the word, but he's not the word. So if you're saying that the black letters on the white page is the word, then you're saying Samson's two wives are the women that he was going to marry, the Gentile from Timnath and Delilah. You're saying that those two women are the word of God? Those two women were Gentiles. They were not the word of God. So if we're going to talk about what the black letters on the white page is talking about, then fine. Then let's talk about it. The black letters on the white page is the story of the people of God. And in the story is where the word is. The rhema is in the story, not the people themselves. Okay. So let's see. Not our signs. This is Psalms 74, verse 9. We see not our signs. There is no more any prophet, neither is there among us any that knoweth how long. O God, how long shall the adversary reproach? Shall the enemy blaspheme thy name forever? Why withdrawest thy hand, even thy right hand, Christ who sits on the right hand? Pluck it out of thy bosom. Why would he tell God to pluck his right hand out of his bosom? Does anybody know the answer to that?
To save us, to be our Messiah.
No. Listen to what I'm asking. Why would he tell God to pluck his right hand out of his bosom? Does our arms grow out of our bosoms?
No.
Pluck his right hand out of his bosom. Nobody knows? See, this
Jesus
is the poetry that's very... Well, yeah, but it's because it's his heart. Okay, look, listen. This goes back to Abraham's bosom. Do y'all remember the story? Okay, so do you remember the story where Jesus is telling a parable? And let me tell you something about Jesus' parables. See, Jesus, when he was here, he was the... That's another thing. Jesus is not black letters on the white page. Okay? Now, obviously, there are black letters on the white page that are describing what he did, but he's the only man that is written in the Bible that is both black letters on a white page and rhema. He's both. Everything about him is the word, period. The Bible tells us that Jesus tells a parable, and this just is not a parable. If any of us make a parable, we can make the parable say whatever we want, and it have no true relevance in real life. It's just a parable that we made up. You cannot dig into the parable and try to find any meaning inside of it, because it's us just talking in a way that we're trying to get somebody to understand that. If you don't understand that is not what Jesus does, man, you're lost. Okay? And I'm not talking about you're going to hell lost. I'm saying you are completely lost when it comes to you are not even close to being as familiar with the Bible as you're claiming. You're not even close. When Jesus tells a parable, that parable itself is a piece of the puzzle, man. It is a piece of the puzzle. It is just not words that Jesus put together so you can understand what he's saying. No. It's a piece of the puzzle, dude. Jesus tells a parable about Lazarus and the rich man. And Lazarus, that name in Greek, he gave Lazarus that name for a reason. He didn't just choose a name like, little Johnny. No. He called this person a very specific name for a very specific reason. Because Lazarus is a shadow of Jesus in the parable. And where is Lazarus? In Abraham's bosom. Because believers in God, They're the inside of them. We are the temple. We're it. That's where Jesus dwells, in the heart. The heart is the good ground. The heart is the soil. Jesus is the soil. We're all one body, one spirit. So here we go again. It's just a coincidence that it says right here to pluck out, talking to God, pluck out your right arm. We all know, if you do not understand that Jesus is the right arm of God, you're not reading the Bible then. You're not. Jesus is the right arm of God. And then he's told to pluck it out of his heart. If you don't understand that Eden, the good ground, is God's heart, if you don't understand that, you are not as familiar, my friend, with what you're claiming. All you see is black letters on a white page, but you're not putting it together.
I thought Abraham.
Eden,
Sorry.
What?
I thought Abraham's bosom was like heaven, like paradise.
Yeah, exactly.
But that means heart as well?
Okay, let me ask you this. What's inside of your bosom?
Jesus.
Right. What was inside of Abraham's bosom?
Jesus.
Lazarus, right? In the story, right, is Jesus. So how is your bosom any different than Abraham's bosom?
I see. Okay.
Jesus is in all believers' bosoms. All of us. You know why? Because we're all one soil. We're all one body. We're one body. The Bible tells us we are one body. We are one spirit, all of us. The problem is people is individually seeing everybody. You're separating everything. We're all one because Christ is in us. That's why he said, I am in you and you are in me and I am in the Father. In the Father, he said. Pluck off your right arm out of your bosom. That's what the rich man said. The rich man said, Abraham, send Lazarus. Who's telling this parable? Jesus is telling the parable. He's using the Bible that we're reading. He's explaining the same thing happening again, but only those that have ears to hear can hear what Jesus is saying in the parable. What is this? Psalm 74 is a plea of relief. What was this man pleading for? Relief. And what did he say? Abraham, send Lazarus, pluck out the right arm so he can cool my tongue. There's only one that can cool your tongue. It's Christ. He's the only one that can do this. And for people in the back and for the slower folks, Jesus makes it even more obvious who he's talking about, because he talks about Lazarus coming back from the dead. And Jesus said, even if a person comes back from the dead, you're not going to believe. Talking about himself. Jesus is Lazarus in Abraham's bosom. But when you're not familiar with the Bible, you don't see it. And so instead of researching it for yourself, you just keep moving on, keep doing what you're doing because you're just doing oh so well without understanding these things. That's fine. That's fine. That's your choice. But I'm telling you, this is true. It's very important to get familiar with the black letters on the white page so you can see the parable, so you can see the poetry that is in here, that Christ put in here. Man, I don't even know if we're going to finish Job today. I'm telling you, the past couple times that we went over Job, I purposely held back a lot of this stuff just so we can at least get through Job. Because there's so much. I mean, I could talk about Job probably for a month straight. Every day we'll be doing it this way. But you have to understand, not everybody has the same attention span as everybody else. You need to understand that. There's probably someone right now sitting at their desk with 42 highlighters, 87 markers, 15 red pens, 32 orange pens, green pens, all your 15 Bibles and 75 screens or whatever else you got going on in your little cave over there, freaking highlighting your whole Bible. And you know what? That's fine and that's great. But, everybody, there might be only 2 of y'all in here doing that. And everybody else.
I only have a pencil. I feel like I didn't bring the right tools. I just brought a pencil. So.
Well, I'm just saying there are people that do that, man, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the way they're programmed. They love it. They go deep, and that's fine. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. Matter of fact, everybody needs to try that out for a couple of months. Matter of fact, if you do that for a month or 2, you probably won't stop. It becomes a very, Dre's back. Let me bring Dre up. But it becomes very intriguing, man, right? And you're starting to teach yourself a new pattern, right? A new way of doing things. And before you know it, you'll fall in love with your markers. You'll be the crazy cat lady. You don't even like people anymore. You just like your books. We're not supposed to be that way, but
man, try all. The only thing I brought was my spirit, bro. That's it.
Well, that's the number one thing. Without that, you can highlight your whole Bible yellow and pink and blue all you want to, but without the spirit, you'll be the one arguing. You'll be the one arguing.
I got that number 2 pencil spirit.
Oh yeah, make sure you have a number 2. Got to be number 2, guys. Okay, like in school, number 2 pencil. All right, so let's see. So why drawest thy hand, even thy right hand, pluck out thy bosom? For God is my King of old, working salvation in the earth. God is salvation, who is in the midst of the earth. The midst of the earth is your heart. That's what the earth is. Christ is in the midst of the earth, the soil, the ground. Just because you read the word earth doesn't mean it's talking about the big ball in the sky or the flat plate, whatever you choose to believe. Whatever. A triangle yellow marker, whatever you want the earth to look to your
Flat like a
I said flat plate already. I said flat already, or domed, or shield, or how about this question mark? Whatever the earth question mark. Yeah, no, I know. But whatever the earth is, no, you're being funny. Whatever. I mean, you call it whatever you want. Again, I'm not talking to you. I'm saying figuratively, whoever. Well, you can call it whatever you want, man. No big deal. But the point is, when you see the word earth, it's talking about your heart, the ground. That's where Christ is. Don't you understand? He's in the midst of your heart. You don't understand that yet? Nobody's making this up. It's poetry. It's stuff that is written in here. People have to study it. Okay, whether you like it or not, get mad about it all you want to. You're behind. Catch up. That's what you need to tell yourself. I need to catch up. I'm telling you, the more you understand this, the more at peace you'll be, because there will be no more confusion on what's happening. There's no more confusion. It's now at that point, all you have to, quote unquote, if you want to use the word worry, which is not good, the only thing you have to worry about is to stop yourself from worrying about things that don't matter. That's the point you'll be at. I just need to quit worrying about this. I need to stop having fear. You'll start talking to yourself like that because you already see who lives in you. All right. 13. Thou didst divide the sea by thy strengths. Thou breakest the heads of the dragons in the waters. Thou breakest the Leviathan. Who's breaking these heads? Anybody? I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. Doesn't it sound like they're saying that God broke the heads?
Yeah.
Yep.
He's crying out to God.
So Leviathan is not Jesus. It ain't God. He's not breaking his own head. Okay. He says, thou breakest the heads of the Leviathan in pieces and gave him to be meat to the people inhabiting the what?
Wilderness.
The wilderness. In the poetry in the Bible, a desolate wilderness. Who are those people? Who are those people?
People that are not saved.
Right. And let me make this clear. A lot of times, desolate wilderness people who are not saved are the people that chose their belly. For their belly is their God. That's why Satan was told by God in the garden, to the belly may you go. This is not telling a snake to lay down and you're going to slither so close to the ground you're going to eat dust. We're talking about poetry here. We're talking about words that have certain symbolisms in its entirety of the whole Bible. To the belly may you go, and may you eat dust all the days of your life. What kind of belly does Jesus say believers in him have? What kind of belly do those people have? With living water. Why would he tell Satan, to the belly may you go, and may you eat dust all the days of your life? Why is he telling him your belly is now going to be dust instead of water? Why is he telling him this?
And dust.
There's no well, exactly. There's no life in dust. So you're going to be the opposite. You're going to be the opposite of what you were. You don't forget that God created.
Can I read another verse that's attached to that one? It's really cool. In Psalm 70.
Yeah, hold on. Give me a second. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, hold on. Give me a second real quick. Yeah. 13 waters. Let me finish reading the Leviathan thing. Or maybe I'll go to 15. Let me see. Thou breakest. It says, and givest him to be meat to the people. Notice that they're eating a meat, something that they're eating in the wilderness. Jesus said, if you don't eat of my flesh, right? There's two fleshes, right? There's two bellies, two fleshes, two trees. You either eat of one tree or you eat of the other tree. Notice, and the people in the desert, they eat from the flesh of the Leviathan. That's what they're eating from. People of living waters are eating from the tree of life. It says, let me see. All right, Aaron, my bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, just in the verse previous that you read, in Psalm 72:9, it says, those who dwell in the wilderness will bow before him, and his enemies will lick the dust.
It is, the whole Bible is pointing to two, it's one huge truth, but there's two sides. There's always these two sides. One is a pleasant, Eden, good ground soil. The other one is a dried up, barren, desolate ground. There's two grounds. There's two trees. There's two bellies. You're either with God or you're not with God. It's very simple. I don't care what sect of people you claim you're from. If you were not from God, all you 50,000 sects are 100% the other nation. I don't care how many nations you claim to be. All y'all together are one nation. There's only two nations. And you're either of God, his holy nation, or you're not. Okay, so is Bill gone? Bill, you here or are you gone?
I don't know if he's here or not.
Okay.
He looks gone.
All right, Dre. We'll see you. Dre said, flight taking off.
I'm still here. I'm just
okay, Bill.
Outside
Bill,
still. Yeah.
Bill. You said Psalm 74. Do you have another one, or you're not able to get to it right now?
Yeah, they put it on the chat. CJ put it on the chat. There was another Psalms. Isaiah, yeah. And there was another Psalms. I'm scrolling on it right now. If somebody sees it. It was higher up. Psalms 104:26.
Psalms. All right. Hold on a second.
104:26.
Okay, hold on. All right, 104.26. 104.
Aaron, write this one down.
104.26.
And Aaron, write down Isaiah 27:1. And Job 3:8 also, it was mentioned.
No, we already went over Job 3:8. Oh, 420. See.
I got Isaiah 27:1 when you want me to read it.
Yeah, I'm just I just flipped over to one of them. I'm reading it because some of them can take you in a direction, and I just want to make sure. Let's see. Here it is. Yeah, okay. So Psalms 104:24 says, "O Lord, how manifold are thy works. In wisdom hast thou made them all. The earth is full of thy riches. So is this great and wide sea, wherein are things creeping innumerable, both small and great beasts. There go the ships. There is that Leviathan, whom thou hast made to play therein. These wait all upon thee, that thou mayest give them their meat in due season. That thou givest them, they gather. Thou openest thy hand, they are filled with good. Thou hidest thy face, they are troubled." And this is talking about the Creator. This whole 104 is all talking about how He is sovereign in all things. And so here, the Leviathan, when it's being, notice what it says about the Leviathan. It throws Leviathan in there right before it talks about 27 Leviathans in 26. 27 says, "These," which Leviathan's one of them, "these wait upon thee, that thou mayest give them their meat in due season." That thou mayest give them their meat in due season. The meat is what is good for them to eat, and that is all based on choice, again. And so when God told Satan, "To the belly may you go, and may you eat dust all the days of your life," they were given their meat. Okay, just like the Bible talks about. So what was the other one? Isaiah what?
27:1.
Isaiah 27:1. Let's see. Isaiah. Is this right here? Furry, let him take the whole thy strength hath a smitten, soothe forth, defend it. Okay, the deliverance. All right. 27 says, "In that day," so let me go up a little bit because this is rejoicing Judah in 26. I'll start reading in 20. So, "My people, enter thou into thy chambers and shut thy doors." And if you don't know, your chamber is the innermost part of you. But anyway, "Shut thy doors, shut about thee, hide thyself as it were for a little moment, until the indignation be overpast. For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth. Notice it says in 20, come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers. This goes all the way back to putting the blood over the door, right? Do y'all remember that in Genesis? Where they put the blood's lamb over the door because
Passover.
death was coming to destroy
Passover.
everything. Right. So in the Passover, right? This is not referring to that incident, but it's something that is continuous throughout the Bible. We see it again right here. And it says, come, my people, enter into thy chambers and shut thy doors. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment until the indignation be overpast, the Passover. For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to the inhabitants blood, and shall no more cover her slain. In that day, this is 27:1, in that day the Lord with his sword, great and strong sword, shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. And in that day sing ye unto her a vineyard of red wine. Now this is the new wine, right? The new wine, vineyard, the husbandry. This is the new wine. I, the Lord, keep it. I will water it every moment. What's he watering? Something that used to be desolate and now has become as the Garden of Eden, as it talks about in Ezekiel 35, 36, that whole area right there. He says, lest any hurt it, I will keep it night and day. Do you know how he keeps it night and day? Do you know how he's the keeper, brother's keeper? He keeps it, the sword to keep the way to the Garden of Eden. You know how he keeps it? He keeps it because we meditate on the word both day and night. And the only way that we can meditate on it both day and night is for us to have the Spirit in him, who is the gardener, who waters it. Do you understand? By having Christ, the gardener, is what's keeping you meditating on the word, because it's him that gives the increase. Who is Paul and who's Apollos? It's God that gives the increase. Why? Because he's in you both day and night, nonstop. Okay. So is that the last one?
That's
I
it.
think it is. All right, so let's go back to Job. Or matter of fact, hold on. Let me go back to Isaiah. Where was that? That was 27, I think.
27. I was gonna.
My bad. I'm
ask
trying to.
you on. In 20
Yeah.
it says, "Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers and shut thy doors about."
Hold on.
thee."
Whoa. Hold on. Aaron, where are you at?
26 verse 20.
Oh, 26 verse 20.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as if it were for a little moment until the indignation be overpast. Is, to me, when I see that, it's kind of like the indignation's going to be there, but the faith we have, it's just a moment. So don't, like, is it saying, like, have faith, it's just a moment, like this too shall pass type thing, be still and then know that I am God? Is that inference there, or am I making more out of that than exists?
No, we can throw all that in there because all of it is pointing truth that Jesus says over and over, which is fear not. And then he says, we're in this world, but we're not of this world. So it all correlates, unless you're talking about something that I'm misunderstanding.
Is going to
Yeah.
happen. But
No,
it's
that's
just a
what
moment.
Paul. Yeah, that's what Paul says. Yeah, it's just a moment. That's why Paul says that we're just a vapor in the air. Calm down. That's why it's very important for us to learn how to harness our emotions. Your emotions should not be able to reign over who you are. Your flesh should not be able to reign over anything, because we're not here long at all. We're here for approximately 100 years. That's it. That's it. That's the only time that you're here, for a very short period of time. So what's the point of worrying? If your eyes are focused on eternity, how long is eternity? If your eyes are focused on that, let me just say this. I can remember the first time that I got called into an office where I almost got fired from a job. It don't matter if I got fired or not. I remember how I felt. Okay. And it came down to, it's still my fault to my boss. So, it was my fault 100%. It could have been handled better, but I was in high school. I had a job. I worked at excuse me, I worked at like an HEB. It's called Super Ones. I used to work at this place. It no longer exists here, but I worked there for a few months while I was in high school, but I played football. And my boss knew that I played football, but he scheduled me to work that Friday. Of course, I blamed him, but it was communication is key, and it was still my fault. But he scheduled me to work Friday. Excuse me. But because I'm not paying attention to the schedule, in my head, well, I'm not going to be here. We're going to be at this other town playing football. So in my head, what am I going to check the schedule for? I don't work on Fridays. I go to football games. Well, he put me to work Friday. And let me tell you something. The area that I'm from, the whole town goes to the game. Here, if you put anybody else in that spot, there ain't nobody going to be here. You can't. The other people are not just a phone call away, Bubba. They're at the game. So he was down one person, which is real bad because that person helped do a lot. So I get back, and I show up the next day that I'm supposed to show up to work. And, I'm 10 minutes late, and in everybody else's eyes, I'm fired. But I walk in there, Bubba, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go to work. And anyway, I went in there and I go look at my schedule, and literally it's like a red marker going through my name. And I'm like, man, the only time I ever seen that is when somebody's fired. I'm like, hey, they must have crossed out the wrong name, because I know that I didn't do anything to get fired. So I go find the boss, and he goes, what are you doing here? And I was like, what do you mean? I work today. He's like, no, you don't. He's like, come to the office. Anyway, we go to the office, and he first words out of his mouth, he goes, you're fired. And I'm like, what? I'm like, bro, I felt like the whole world caved in on me. Like, I didn't feel like crying. I mean, but it doesn't mean it wasn't hard. It was hard to hear. I couldn't believe what I just heard. I was like, fired. I was like, what? I was like, for what? And he goes, you didn't show up yesterday. And I mean, he starts ringing my butt, and I'm thinking, show up yesterday. So I let him finish. And I said, hey, Mr. So-and-so, I play football. What? No. I told y'all check the schedule. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I didn't check. The truth is, I did not check the schedule. Should he have remembered? Well, yeah, he should have. But we're told every week, check your schedule. And the reason why they tell you that is in case something is wrong, you can go talk to management and get it corrected. Well, guess what? I did not check the schedule, because if I would have saw that I was working today, and I'd be like, hey, I play football. I'm not going to be able to be here, And anyway, so he's like, well, look, this is what we're going to do. He's like, I've already fired your butt. So I'm like, okay. He goes, it's going to take me a half a day to correct the paperwork. I've kind of moved some things around. So you're only going to work a half a day today. He's like, so you need to come back at this time. So basically, if you want to be technical, I was fired for 3 hours, or whatever, But dude, I'm telling you right now, it ruined my whole day. It ruined my whole day. I could not. When that dude said, why are you're fired? I was like, I've never had anyone say that to me. Fired? I'm like, for what? And I know it seems like a long, drawn out story, but I'm giving it to you like that on purpose. I'm giving it to you long and drawn out because when I was at that age, that was my life. That was serious to me.
For sure.
But here I am now. I'm 40 years old. I'm 40 years old. Do you think that I care about that day? That's some years. If you can't tell that 20 years was a vapor, if you can't see that, then I don't think you understand what eternity is. I really don't. And I'm not saying, put your red pen down, whoever you are. I'm not saying that, oh, well, nobody can know what eternity. Look, we have an idea, guys.
It's a long
we have
time.
an idea, okay? It's a long time. So let's not get technical here and split hairs. The point I'm making is if you can at least come to the understanding that eternity, and then you can come to an understanding that I thought that him saying to me, you're fired, I thought that was the worst thing you could tell me when I know that I didn't do nothing wrong. I knew I didn't do nothing wrong. But the truth is I didn't check the schedule. So you can sit here and point the finger and all. The point is that was hard. That was so hard. It ruined my whole day, I'm telling you.
Did you
if I can ruin my
Did you check your schedule from that point forward for the rest of your life?
Absolutely, I did.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. He put a new schedule up, Bubba. I was there like white on rice. I'm not kidding. I was there front and center, But the point is, I don't think about that. I don't waste any of my day today, last year, man, there ain't a second of my day that thinks about that way back then. So what's the point of my whole weekend being ruined when nothing happened? Here I am. It's 20-something years later. Don't you understand? 20-something years later. If I'm not worried about it now, why do I need to worry about it then? What's the word I'm saying? Worry. Fear. We don't have to live in fear, even in the moment. Even in the moment, you don't have to. You can choose not to. You can overcome it. Okay? You have to learn how to do that. You have to learn how to master grit. It is very important. You only have approximately 50 years left on this life. That's it. So why waste your day? Why allow your flesh to make you believe that it's okay to worry and to have strife? Why? When it's only for a moment. We're only here for a moment. So
my favorite verse my favorite verse about that is Psalms 30 verse 5, which is, for his anger endureth but a moment, in his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning.
Exactly. Joy cometh in the morning. And if y'all don't know what morning that's talking about, I apologize again. Okay. Now in this world, we can learn that joy comes in the morning, right? The joy of the Lord. It's another day. It's a new day. That is in the past 100%. But there is a glorious morning. And if you don't know what that glorious morning is, you need to go study your Bible. Oh, hold on. Hold on, guys. Hold on. All right. Daniel, what's going on, man?
Where is everybody?
Well, some of them are in the CJ's in the chat, Dre's in the chat. So, I mean, everybody's here. They're just in the chat, not up on a panel.
Yeah. Ben's
But
in the
anyway,
chat
so we're
too.
going over. Yeah, we're going over. Let's see. Everybody else is at work. I mean, they're in the comments, though. Okay, so what was the last thing we read, Aaron?
Psalm 30, verse 5, and before that it was joy cometh
Or
in
was
the
it
morning. Isaiah 27, 1.
Okay, well, we're going. Okay, right. Let's go back to Job. Because remember, we just got through reading. Man, we're not going to finish Job today. I knew it. I knew not to say that. I
That's
knew
the second
it, bro.
time,
Like,
right?
I just knew. Well, like I said, man, like, yeah, pretty much.
I like getting
so we're going back
into
to
it
Job.
More. I like getting into it more
Well,
than
no,
highlighting.
No, I do, but there's just a lot of people that you just can't. I'm telling you, you just can't do it every time, dude. It'll drive people nuts. Like staying in the same place. Some people will just, yeah, trust me, it happens. So we'll just do it from time to time. Well, you said we was only gonna spend 3 days. I pushed it. I pushed it for 3 days. I apologize. I pushed for 3 days. I really did. Okay,
it's
so
good to be
we
optimistic.
went over. Yeah, of course it is. So we went over Job 41. Okay, and if you can see, it's just bouncing around. But I'm doing that because I really am familiar with the Bible. That's why I'm going to all these places to show how you can see what these things are resembling or what they're talking about. The reason that people can't see it is because they're not familiar with the Bible. They're lying. I say this all the time. I don't care calling out the liars. Now, I'm not going to go up to them individually. I could shoot and tell them, hey, you're not familiar, man. Look, if you're familiar, you are. If you aren't, then you are who I'm talking about. And I'm not going to have a one-on-one debate. We're not running for president. Calm down. Put your red pen down. Quit acting like you're 10 years old. If you don't like someone in the Bible, then become familiar with the Bible. Join the rest of us here.
Have you done Psalms?
Yeah, become. It's not hard.
Have you done Psalms, brother?
Huh?
Have you went through Psalms?
What do you mean?
As a study?
I've actually had a few people bring that up. Matter of fact, last week, there was probably at least 3 or 4 people that was asking. And I mean, I go through Psalms. The reason why I haven't directly went to Psalms is because I go there a lot to put some of the pieces of the puzzle together. So in a way, Psalms actually has been studied a lot on Descaled, but it just never been like the title. Like, you know, there's no title that says, come join us and we're going to discuss Psalms. But to answer your question, yes, dude, we go over Psalms a lot.
Yeah, there's an apologetics guy on here, and that's what he does. He takes the scriptures from a book like Daniel, and then he'll connect it into the Psalms, you know, the matching Psalm that has pieces of the puzzle. And it's a really interesting way he does it. That's what you're doing, it sounds like.
Yeah, that's all I do. I do the exact same thing, except I do it to the whole Bible.
Right.
Like I use the whole Bible, because the whole Bible does this. So right now we went over Job 41, because Job 42 we did yesterday, or actually we read a couple of, we ended it. I'm sorry, not Job 42, Job 40. We went over the behemoth. We went over what that is, who that is, whatever you want to call it. We broke that down, and today we went over 41. And so what I'm going to add to that is notice that this is God talking, and he mentions 2 beasts. Notice that he mentions 2 beasts. One's in 40 and one's in 41. And it's always funny that God always points 2 things. He's always pointing to the bride and the whore. He's always pointing to the good ground and the desolate ground. He's always pointing to the the old you and the new you. He's always pointing to two main mountains, Mount Sinai, Mount Zion. He's always pointing to the first Adam and the last Adam. If you cannot see what God is always pointing at, and I'm not really sure at all how you're figuring out what you are. How are you figuring out what you are if you can't see that God's always pointing to two things? And then he says, I set before you life and death. Choose life. He even gives you the answer. Choose life. Well, if you don't know what life is, how can you choose what it is? So you need to know what life is. And Jesus came and said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And I'm going to believe him. And there's too many reasons to believe him and not enough not to believe him. But he does it again here in Job. And he's talking to Job. And he says, hey, what do you know about the behemoth? And then he says, hey, what do you know about Leviathan? He says, he's saying something that if you don't have ears to hear, you don't understand what he's explaining. And we know very well that at this point in Job's life, he has no idea what he's talking about. He's about to tell us in chapter 42, which what we're going over tomorrow. So we got about 10 minutes left. So if anybody on the panel's got something to say it now. Or
Yeah, I got a question
piece.
for you. I ran into this a few months ago. So you know the passage early in Job, speaking of Job, I think it's verse 1:6 and 2:1, where it says, remember the sons of God are appearing before the Lord God in heaven, and Satan appears with them. And there's people on here this is the thing that just drives me nuts, and I appreciate your ministry because you teach in the truth. Is this guy was saying that those sons of God were men. He said that the sons of God in Genesis and in Job are men. You know, when the sons of God had intermingled with women. So how do you address when people just say that and they're diehard gonna stick to it and go to they're gonna just fall on that sword type of doctrine, but it's wrong. Like, how do you address that, brother?
Yeah, I think the best way to address it, man, I'll be 100% transparent on this is I always try to meet the person like I try to get exactly what they're trying to say, because there are people that will tell you that they're out there, there are people out there that will tell you that I'm trying to word it the way that, you know what, I don't have to word it the way that they say it, but I'll just paint the picture as close as I can. They'll tell you that there's people up there with God right now. And then you just ask them, can you explain what you mean? Now, I know what they mean, but I want them to explain what they mean. And so they'll say things like, well, was Christ crucified at the foundation of the earth? And so they make it to where what we're living, even though it's still fleshly here in this world, that the earthly things are still always present, still always happening, and there are people up there with him, right? And I understand what they're saying. And so the other approach is, are you saying that not everything is done, but there's people up there and we're still waiting for all this to happen so the end of everything can occur? And so when you ask these people, which one of them are you saying? A lot of them will say, oh, well, there's people already up there and we're waiting for all this stuff to go down. And then, of course, there's a smaller group that says, oh, no, there's people up there already because, see, they died and they're in heaven with God right now. And so there's just 3-4 views, and then of course we know that, where's the verse? Let me see if I can find this verse that somebody will definitely.
Yeah, well, you got it. I got to say it so long, guys. I got to take off. God bless. Okay. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning.
Absolutely.
God bless, Bill. I could search it too if you. Get some keywords.
Yeah, I know. I don't remember what. Let me just see if I can. Let me see. Shoot.
I've got Ephesians 2:1-10, and it describes death and the natural spiritual birth and stuff like that. Is that what you're looking for?
No, that's not what I'm looking for. Let me see.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Yeah, Aaron, how you doing today, brother?
Daniel, my brother, good to see you.
Good to see you. Yeah, you can't argue with these people when they won't agree on fundamental things. I mean, I'm not even trying to argue with them. They're putting stuff out, and it's just it's insanity what they're talking about, and they're twisting stuff around, and you can't even have a conversation with them because they won't agree on fundamental things.
Well, they don't want to.
That's
agreement, so that's their whole point.
Well, the thing that I'm pointing out is you first have to understand 100% what they're trying to say. I don't debate or argue, man. I might go a circle or two with you, but that's only to understand what what that person is trying to say. But if you go to Psalms 82, I mean, these are verses in the Bible, right? If you go to Psalms 82, this is the one that I'm looking for. It says, God standeth in the congregation. Now this is about, okay, so this is Asaph that's writing this, and this is talking about unjust judgments rebuked. So it's a rebuke against unjust judgments. And it says, God standeth in of the mighty. He judgeth among the gods. Notice what it's saying. It says, how long will ye judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Salah. Defend the poor and fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and needy. Deliver the poor and needy. Rid them out of the hand of the wicked. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. But ye shall die like men, and fall like one of the princes. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all nations. So this is one of the verses that people will bring up when you're having this topic, right? Of like, God having a group of, the what is it called? The man the knights at the round table, right? So this is one of the verses that they'll bring up, and they're talking about God sitting there and having rebuttals and conversations with other people about things that he's going to do and things that he's not going to do and things of that nature. And so I've learned that when people are bringing those things up, one thing we do know is the truth is God is not alone. That's the truth, right? I always try to meet them in the topic that they're in. So number one, God's not alone. He created us to be around others. He created us. So God is not alone. But the thing I point out, for instance, when it talks about like the one that you just brought up, Daniel, right, which is in Job, and it talks about that the sons of God are there, and then it says that Satan is there, right?
Right.
And I point out because I always ask them this, and so far, well, every once in a while I'll find some to get that right, but if they don't get that part right, in my head the conversation's over, because I know where they're going to go with this idea of the King Arthur and the court, the court of the knights at the round table. I already know where they're going to go with that. But you have to, all of us have to come into the agreement that God is not by himself. He's not sitting alone and there's just like this void and emptiness. You know, I'm not saying that if he was alone, he'd be sad. No, he'd be content 100%. But he's not alone.
Talking about the angels?
He is a creator. There's
the
a lot
angels and the seraphim and the cherubim.
Well, you could call them whatever,
etc.
Well, we could call him. We could call him whatever we want. He's not alone. That is the main point. When we start getting into to call all the other things, this is where people start dividing and arguing. We have to come to an agreement at some point. The question would be, is God alone? The answer is no. The answer is 100% no. God is not alone. Once that understanding is set, then there is a foundation that can be built upon with anyone in any perspective. Or, you know, I watched part of a movie yesterday. I should have finished it, but, you know, sometimes I just can't finish all the movies. But I think some of the Marvel movies are kind of cool. So my brother told me, bro, you got to check out, I can't remember the name of it, but it's pretty much where I think it's Doctor Strange Part 2. I don't know the name of it, but I think it's Doctor Strange Part 2, whatever the name of it. Mm-hmm. And bro, they're hopping in from one dimension to another. You got like 20 dimensions. And I'm like, what in the world is going on in this movie? It was cool. And the thing is, the world that we live in, when people read the Bible, everybody's in a different dimension in their head.
Yeah.
All you got to do is just, yeah. And it's okay. All right. It's okay. It's all right. God's not falling off his throne because we're sitting here still scratching our heads on some things. It's not that serious. So,
well check this out.
Yeah.
We know in Revelation chapter 4, right? We know that there's the 24 elders who, now there's speculation on who those may be, but we know in the throne room that there's 24 elders. We know there's 4 beasts, right? And so we see, even in that scene, we know there's myriads of myriads that are ministering unto him in the throne room of Revelation 4. So like you said, when you say he's not alone, we get that exact picture in Revelation chapter 4 of him being on the throne with the 24 elders surrounding him, throwing down their crowns and calling out, of course, the seraphim before him, calling out, holy, 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 right? So you're exactly right. We see him in a throne room surrounded in his glory, but he's being ministered to and he's being bowed down before by the 24 and the 4 beasts and the seraphim and etc. So yeah, you're exactly right. When you say that.
Right. So the first thing is, excuse me. The first thing is, and again, no matter who you're talking to, they're in one of these realms. Okay. So you first need to figure out, in what dimension are they talking about? Like, explain to me exactly what you mean. Okay, so let's say one of them says, "Oh, I'm talking about dimension 17." All right, so you're way over here. The next question is, okay, so now that we're in agreement that God is not alone, because first of all, I don't know who would say God's alone. The Bible is full of proof that he's not by himself. I don't know who these people are. I've never met one. To this day, I have not met a person that will tell me God is by himself and alone. I haven't met one. But you have these people that make these kind of topics such a big deal, like if the whole spectrum and nucleus about God is to know that he's, with the knights at the round table. Okay, first off, how many times does it talk about God sitting at the table with the knights? How many times? It's not in there a lot. It's not in there enough to make it the pinnacle of what you're talking about. Do you understand what I'm saying, Daniel?
Yeah, I thought at supper is the only time I ever saw him sitting around with the group talking. But
well,
I get
yeah, well, it's in there a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no matter if it's heavenly or not. Okay. No matter if it's heavenly or not. I'm talking about him sitting around his cream of the crop there, whoever they may be, right? Because it doesn't right now. I'm not going to go over who they are or what they are. It's irrelevant at this point.
Right.
The point I'm making is he's not alone. That's number one. Number two, how many times does the Bible talk about him being around these other people or beings, whatever you want to call them, how many times does it really discuss it? It's a handful of times.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So here, one of them is in Psalms 82. Right. Obviously, it talks about it in Revelation. Obviously. So the question is, when the disciples, when the disciples asked Jesus, "Tell us about heaven," what did he say? What was his answer? Does anybody remember?
No.
No.
My Father's house is many mansions.
No. When they asked him, they said, "Tell us of heaven." And dude, he's like, "Tell you of
you
heaven."
Don't even understand earthly things. How are you going to understand heavenly things?
You don't even understand. He said, "You don't even understand what I'm trying to tell you here."
Oh, yeah,
and you want me to tell you about heaven? Okay. So watch this. Jesus is God. Okay. Jesus is God. And he told the disciples, "You don't even understand what I'm trying to tell you here. And you want to talk about heavenly things?" Now, he hadn't died yet, so don't trust me. Guys that's in the Spectrum 27, calm down. I'm about to answer you. Calm down. So I understand, realm 27 and a half. Calm down. Those people that are in that realm right now, calm down. Yes, I know that Jesus hadn't died yet and Revelation hasn't been revealed. Calm down. Right now, I am talking about the way he talked to the disciples. Right at that moment, he told them, "You don't even understand what I'm trying to tell you here, and you want me to talk to you about earthly things." Okay, so now Christ dies, he resurrects. Now the spirit of revelation is the seventh spirit, right? Because there were 6 candlesticks on the menorah, which is representing the 6 spirits that rest upon Christ's shoulders. And then the resurrection takes place. Now the spirit of revelation, which is 7, the perfect number. Now the spirit of revelation is here, and revelation starts getting revealed. We see the gospel given to Paul through the Old Testament. That's where the gospel has been hidden the entire time. So now that's here. So now we know that there are some things that we can understand. So now we know that God is not alone. We know that God's sitting at the king, the knights at the round table. We know that that's true. It's mentioned. It's in there a very few times. So the next question is, where is the focus supposed to be? That's the next question. What are we supposed to be focused on doing? And Jesus tells us before he leaves. This is after the cross. Now, the resurrection's already happened. He doesn't talk to them about God sitting at the knight's table. He doesn't talk to them about that. He says, "Go ye and make disciples." And he says, "And these signs shall follow them." What are the signs that follow the people? It doesn't say those who figure out who's walking around with God and Satan and Job. It doesn't say that. It says those who open the blind eyes, those who descale, those who open the ears, those who cause the lame to walk. Those are the signs. The sign is not those that can explain who's all sitting at the round table. Now, does that mean that we don't know? No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the Bible does tell us hints here and there. He does tell us in the poetry who is with God and all these things. So to answer your question, Daniel, what I do anytime someone approaches me, because let me tell you, and I'm not talking about you, Daniel, I'm talking about the people that love talking about this. They are very aggressive.
Oh, yes.
These people,
if you don't agree with them, they excommunicate you.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. So it's not about, I try not to look at whether I agree or disagree. I try to find what do we have in common so far that I know that we can at least admit we have in common, that God is not alone. And once you can level that, I'm telling you, first of all, that's a mountain to them. How dare you tell them that God's oh man. First of all, this is not a big part of the Bible. This is a very small part of the Bible, but they try to make it the biggest part. Like this is the biggest thing that we need to talk about, that God's not alone. The Bible makes it clear God's not alone. That's That's so evidently clear. I don't understand the aggression that comes off. Like, it's like they try to find something that people aren't talking about, and I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to be the king of this conversation. It's like, bro, the Bible says it in there very clear. I can point out everywhere it says it. I can describe who a lot of the people are that God is with, that he's, sitting. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, what edification am I going to get out of it? What edification is now the other person can lie and they can say, oh, it would edify me so much if we went over. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll use discernment on that. And I'll say this, first of all, God's not alone. And, you can catch yourself getting in a very ugly argument if you try explaining to someone who is sitting up there with him at his at the Knights of the Round Table up there, right? So, but I'm with you. They can be very aggressive, but by now, Daniel, I'm more focused on edifying than I am trying to prove somebody wrong or. But like I said, dude, I'll still go around circle time and time. It's not about proving anybody wrong, but it is trying to get them to see something. And if they don't see it, I'm not mad at them. Maybe we'll talk about it next year. Why does the conversation have to be completely over? The conversation don't have to be completely over, and there's people, and I'm going to be honest, that they'll ask me questions about something and not the way you're doing it because you're on the live. We're just having a Christian conversation. I'm talking about people that want to debate and argue them. I'm not here to change your mind. And surely you don't think that you're here to change someone else's mind, that whoever that person is. But once you go over it with them a couple of times, let it go, man, because within a year, y'all could talk about it again.
Sure.
But if you start arguing though, watch, if you start arguing, they may not want to ever talk to you about it again. So instead of arguing with them, put the foundation out there. Look, man, we agree. God's not alone. Oh, well, I was hoping you said he wasn't so I could prove you wrong, man. Look, it's so simple. It's so easy to me. The Bible's so clear that he's not alone. It ain't no like this dramatic, like this dun, 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 this huge revelation that God's not alone. How in the world is that a huge revelation? It's so easy that he's not alone. It's so easy. I've asked hundreds of people. I don't know if I'm in the thousands yet, but I'm pretty close. I've never met one person that says God's by himself. I've never met one. I'm sure I'll meet one eventually.
Heard that. Yeah, I've never heard that. I didn't.
I've never heard.
Yeah. I don't even know why you're mentioning this. I've never even heard that. I don't even. Is that what people are doing now? Is there a new thing they're trying to come out with? Saying he's alone or something? Or?
Well, no, I think it's the point
of
saying that whoever is there. Like if you're saying that, it's kind of focusing on the wrong thing.
Yeah, I'll just say this. Well, it's because of the topic, Daniel, that you brought up. The topic you brought up, it seems like every 2 years or maybe every year. It seems like almost every year. You find a sect of people that it's like maybe they went and read a book or something. I don't know. I don't know why it pops up every once in a while. And it's not just that. There's a bunch of little things. I've people kind of preaching what David Koresh used to preach. They're the Messiah. And dude, every year or two, another new Messiah pops up. Dude, these things, this is nothing new. There is always going to be a sect of people that pop up and think that like, for instance, I've never met a person, me personally, I have never met a person that believes Jesus was white. I've never met one. But yet you have people, the black Hebrew Israelites and these other people, whatever little sect that they're from, and they're like, well, I hate to bust your bubble, but Jesus isn't white. And they bust out laughing like if they believe you think Jesus is white.
Exactly.
And I'm like, what? I'm like, bro, hold on. I said, hold on, bro, hold on. Who thinks Jesus is white? You do. I'm like, bro, I met you 30 seconds ago. What are you talking about? Jesus wasn't white and he wasn't black either. What? How can you say? And that's it. That's their whole point, though. See, their whole point is they want to talk about Jesus was black.
And what
right?
verse do they go to, Trot? They go to Revelation 1:14, right? Where it says,
Oh my God,
no,
Bubba.
no, but
Yes,
this
they
is
go to
funny.
his.
So I befriended this Hebrew Israelite sister, right? Just on accident. I didn't mean to, but it's, you know how things go, right? So I just for fun, I went on her live yesterday. She's really knowledgeable. You see, this is the problem: is you give all this knowledge, but you give the wrong doctrine, and this is where you run into these David Koresh types, right? But she was talking, so we were talking for a while, and we were going through the book of Hebrews chapter 7, and she's talking about, Melchizedek and the change of the priesthood and all that. And I was kind of subtly trying to, drop little hints like, see, the law changed, because they're all about, keeping the law and all that. Anyways, but I got to tell you this, I think it's so funny. So she started to get frustrated with me because I kept, pointing out little inconsistencies in her doctrine, which she wasn't a fan of. But in that verse, it says his head and his hair were white like wool, right? And I said, see, as white as snow. I said, look, see, it says his head and his hair, messing with her because they have a black Jesus with the woolly hair, right? Boy, she lost her whole demeanor changed, and she lost her mind when I told her that. She said, what are you saying? He's a white guy? And I'm saying, no, it's clearly a spiritual being. He's in heaven in this point. He's being revealed in a spiritual way. So what is the issue? But like you said, their whole doctrine is he's black. He's a black God who made white people too, right?
And let me say this, right? So watch this. If I say that Jesus isn't white, right? First of all, Jesus was not white. Let me be on the record saying that. And Jesus was not black. Let me be on the record saying that. Let me be on the record of saying that Jesus was not here to prove that any skin color was better than anybody. So if you're part of them sects, you need to get that out of your head. You are being misled. Okay? Wow. Man. Wow.
I keep thinking of the verse, the knowledge of men is foolishness to God. These stupid little arguments.
100%. Those arguments are not. First of all, let me say this. Arguing about the Bible really is not edifying at all, but at least people are talking about it. I mean, you can look at it in that perspective, but at the same time, when you know that someone's agenda or motive is 100% pointing to something, and you know what that something is, which is race and hate and bigotry, if that's all they're talking about, Bubba, they are not talking about the Bible. They are not preaching the gospel. They're not. They're preaching some other witchcraft that has nothing to do with Jesus at all. That's why Paul said, "Oh, foolish Galatians." Again, he's calling them a fool because they're going back to the law. But I'm telling you right now, you're just as foolish by preaching something other than the gospel that was given to Paul. You're preaching witchcraft is what you're preaching. And, so I don't care what skin tone. I don't care if you happen to be, orange with black polka dots. If you start saying, well, Jesus was orange with black polka dots, and you can somehow twist some scripture to make people believe that, bro, listen, you're focused on the wrong thing, man. I'm sorry. That is not the focus. And they go, well, what'd he look like then? What'd he look like? Fine, let's go over what he looked like. And then we go over scriptures that constantly point out what he looks like. And if you pay attention, it is not talking about skin. It's talking about who he is in eternity. That's what it's talking about. Okay? Jesus is not black with fire coming out of his eyeballs. I mean, come on, man. Listen to what you're saying. That's what it says. That's what it says. Listen. The fire is the spiritual sight. It is the pleasant sight. In the garden, it says that God planted all the trees that were pleasant to the sight. It's talking about pleasant to the spiritual sight. That's what it's talking about. To the spirit. What?
Isn't like, because I thought about this a lot, because like Daniel said on TikTok, you see this stuff transpiring. Isn't like the desire to want to make a visible image, isn't that from the flesh, the carnal mind trying to create an image versus the spirit, the truth of the living word of God? Am I making sense?
Because your flesh wants to see something. It shouldn't be hard to understand it. Aaron, I'm not talking to you. I'm saying the question you're asking, for anyone that don't understand this should not be hard to understand. Most people in the world that don't know how to harness their emotions, they don't understand that they are a spirit, soul, and a body, and they don't understand that there are two bellies. We can easily get in the one belly, which is the non-barren ground, the desolation. It doesn't edify nothing. All it does is hinder your soul from doing what God wants you to do. That's all it does. It's getting in your flesh, and that's the part of you that idolizes people, that turns
sorry.
Well, let me say this. Let me say this real quick. There is something about this flesh that it has to have a physical thing to look at. It has to have. It will not believe a spiritual thing because it doesn't discern a spiritual thing. It knows nothing of the belly that flows rivers of living water. It knows nothing about that. You know why? Because it can't see it. It's the part that looks through the Bible at the black letters of the white pages, and because it doesn't see anything else, nothing else is there. And these people worship their bellies. They worship their feelings. They worship their five senses. Only what they can see, taste, smell, feel, hear. That's what they worship. They only worship what the body tells them is real. That's what they worship. And they don't understand that their belly is their God. They don't understand that. They think that's what's real because that's what I can see. And the Bible makes it very clear that the flesh and the spirit are enmity. They are hostile one to another. And so, yeah, Aaron, no, I'm with you 100%, man. Our flesh wants to see something. 100%.
I read a book by C.S. Lewis. It's called The Screwtape Letters, and something that like hit me like a brick right in the head was, and if anybody's read that, it's kind of a dialogue of the enemy and how he uses witchcraft to ensnare people. And the conversation this demon is teaching his pupil how to ensnare people. One of them is the idea of this person being in the room and praying, and they have a cross hanging on the wall, and he's teaching. He goes, make them think that cross is what they're praying to versus the spirit of the living God. So they focus on that wooden thing that's hanging on the wall because it's something they can see, touch, feel, smell, and all those things versus knowing who they are in Christ. And I think that fleshly desire versus, doubting Thomas, and the verse that says, blessed is the man that seeth not and believes.
Yeah, I bring that up all the time.
Yeah.
I talk about C.S. Lewis and Mere Christianity. And the Screwtape Letters is a good secondary one, but I always point him to Mere Christianity too, and also just his testimony, because C.S. Lewis was an atheist who couldn't get past the moral law pressing upon him, so he investigated it, and it led him to become a Christian. So, yeah, good reference, brother. Not too many people have read those, Screwtape and Mere Christianity. He wrote some other books, many lectures, etc. when he became a Christian, and was a great. He breaks it down into simple things, that complex things in Scripture. He makes them simple for people who are just starting out in the faith to get better understanding. So a good reference there, Brother Aaron.
Yeah. So anytime anybody brings up any topic, dude. And like I said, every year or every year and a half, it's been very consistent that a same topic that was brought up last year or 10 years ago, it'll arise again from the shadows, and somebody will hop on it like it is just the bee's knees. And this is the doctrine. Like, you have to understand this right here. And it's always like a very small thing. And it's like, out of everything in the Bible, hey, stop that, quit that. But out of everything in the Bible, there's a very few things that most people focus on. There's very few that most people focus on. And one of the things that I have noticed is the rhema in the Old Testament. First of all, the Old Testament is the scriptures that they read. The Old Testament is what the scriptures Jesus was referring to when he was on his way to Emmaus with the couple, with the two people. And he says, and he opened the scriptures concerning himself. He opened the scriptures concerning himself. That is not a little thing. He said from Moses through the prophets. You know how many books that is? Do you know how much information that we're talking about here? We're not talking about 5 Bible verses that talk about the knights at the round table. No, my friend. There's a lot more information that Jesus used to cause people's hearts to burn within because his focus was bringing people alive. His focus was making disciples. His focus was descaling people where their scales are so hard you can't even get air to penetrate them. That's his focus. His focus was the Leviathan. That's what the scales are. We just went over Job 41. He talked about Leviathan pretty much the entire time, and he says that he's the father of pride. And if you don't know that the Leviathan is Satan, I'm not really sure what you're reading. Maybe you're focused too much on the Knights Templar and the the Knights at the round table. What we need to be focused on is what Christ focused on. That's what we need to be focused on. We need to be focused on making sure that people can see, returning the eyesight back to people. We were all born blind, and we need to open the blind eyes. God is not telling us to go find the 2 blind people in your county and open their eyes. That's not what he's telling you to do.
Amen.
Now, can the power of God do that? It is a joke if you say no. But the flesh, Jesus did not come here to save your flesh. That's not what he came here to do. He didn't come here so only your life in this world can be much better if you could see and not stub your toe. Do you not know how awesome blind people are? Have you not? Let me tell you something. If you've never hung out with the blind person, you need to come out from under the rock you live under. There is a lot of blind people. I'm not talking about people that are blind that they saw their whole life. In the last 5 years, they were blind because of diabetes or something. Listen. I'm talking about someone that's been blind since birth. Bro,
it's
they can get
astonishing.
They can get around their house better than you can. Their senses, their hearing, oh my Lord, dude. If you're going to sit here and say, oh, woe is me, I'm so sad that person's blind, but thank God I'm not blind. You're missing it, man. We're so used to seeing everything here that of course it's hard for us. I mean, if you have eyesight, okay? I'm talking about regular eyesight. It don't have to be 20/20, but let's just say it's close enough. And then by the touch of a switch, your eyesight was to turn off. Of course that would be hard. Of course. Lord, especially if you own your home already. I mean, some of these people, they're blind at birth, and they get a house or they live in a facility that's made for blind people, but they've been like that their whole life. It's normal. It's just like you and I. But of course, if you say, oh my God, I don't know how it'd be if I was blind. You're talking about like at the snap of the finger. Oh, it's blind. Of course that would be hard. What person is going to disagree with that? Of course, but you're coming at it the wrong perspective. There's a lot of people that were born into this world blind. Okay? That's how they were born. And they grew up learning how to deal with not having that visual sight. And they can do just about anything that you can do. They really can.
It is amazing. The senses that they come to rely on, that they don't hyper focus on just the thing. Like we see something and we just go towards it. They have to be aware of everything else. And It's, to me, I mean, what you're saying, it's made obvious in reading scripture that if you're only looking for the thing you're trying to prove, you're going to trip. You're going to not see everything else that's there.
Yeah,
You won't be aware of it.
we're so used to fit things. We read the Bible and then that's how we see it, because you can physically see it. But you read the Bible to someone who's blind, they have no idea what you're talking about. But you know what they have is an imagination. That's what they have. And they can sin by using their imagination. They can praise God by using their imagination. The physical sight is what's not important. What's important is whether it has been established, their spiritual sight, whether that's have been redeemed and restored to them. The eyesight that was taken away from Adam, that sight, the sight that was given back to Paul the apostle, that sight, that's the eyesight that we're supposed to be returning to people. All these debates, these idiotic, childish, rebellious arguments that have nothing to do with why Jesus came here, does nothing but cause division. It pushes us further away from each other, but yet we're going to spend countless hours reflecting on the dust bellies that was once ours as slaves for so long, and we go right back to it. That's the dog's vomit. If you didn't know, that's the dog's
Been there, done
vomit.
that.
The dog's vomit is you going back to your belly, knowing that it does nothing but cause division, it causes strife, but you do it under the name of the Bible, right? So this one's different because I'm in the Bible this time. No, my friend, you have taken your foolish, carnal, barren belly to the Bible, and you're distorting it with your polluted imagination about how you individually just want to argue and divide using the Bible. You're doing the same thing you did with everything else in your life. But to make yourself feel better, since you worship your belly, well, it's the Bible. Well, okay then. To the belly may you go, and may you eat dust all the days of your life. Because that meat is what you're choosing to eat. And Jesus said, if you don't eat of my flesh, you will never have everlasting life. And eating of his flesh is not opening the Bible, trying to figure out who I can prove wrong today. Who can I prove wrong today? How can I gloat and be right today? It's about making disciples. That's what it's about. It's
Well,
not
that's the
about who can
problem too, Trot. They get stuck on one thing, so they never advance in the faith. They're stuck learning, algebra, so they never, ever get to calculus, let alone trigonometry, because they are fascinated with algebra and they think they're so smart in it. And I mean, for instance, you could give me any of the debates you see on here, water baptism versus, you don't need to go to the water. You could give me either side of the debate. You could give me a couple hours and I could put together either side. You could do once saved, always saved. I could argue either side. You can give me any topic that they drone on about endlessly on here, oneness versus Trinitarian. I can do either side. But the thing is, I see them stuck on their level because there's so many, and you know this, Trot, and many of our brothers and sisters in the chat know this. When you start to ascend in the faith to the higher things, right, to forgiveness, right, love of enemies, these are the calculus of the faith, right, the love of all, the love of God even, those are the higher things, and people never get those because they're stuck on algebra. They don't get to go to the next level or past that exam because they don't ever get off of the topic and move on to better and deeper things.
Yeah, it'll never happen because they're still worshiping their belly. It's funny that some of these people are saved And they don't understand that they're worshiping your belly. You're going back to the vomit. Where does the vomit come from? I don't know why this is so hard to understand. Going back to the vomit is not just talking about you sinning, because sin comes from the belly. That's where it comes from. But if you don't understand that if you can't put together the fact that going back to the vomit is talking about going back to your old belly, meaning the old way that you used to accomplish tasks by utilizing your flesh. You cannot cast out Satan with Satan. And if you don't know what that means, that boggles my mind. We need to understand what these things mean. You cannot cast out Satan with Satan. Jesus is saying, there's nothing about me that is Satan. Nothing. I don't have that belly. I'm a different belly. There's nothing about me. Only I and anything that is along with me, that's one with me, can cast out Satan. So how can another person who is in their belly, and this is the other flip side,
wow.
if I'm agitated at somebody and I'm in my fleshly belly, right, because I don't know how to harness my emotions, and the other person is in their fleshly belly, how in the world is a carnal-minded man going to cast out the carnal mind of another man?
Wow.
How? How in the world do you think you're sitting there, quote unquote, talking about the Bible? You are 100% in your flesh, 100% using the seed of Satan, because you're sitting here calling him Satan. Y'all are both saved, both of y'all. But because you're still acting like a child, you just want to win this debate, and you're like, I'm going to change this person's mind. No, brother. No, you're not. You're not making disciples. You're not changing people's lives. You're not doing any of that. You're
I have a
worshiping your
question.
belly. Yeah, go ahead.
So I've seen this happen before. Friends of mine, and perhaps even I did it, but these rooms that we're talking about, many times I see people, the reason for being there, they know that the problems you're talking about, but they say, I'm there to help, so I could be the truth in the darkness,
Yeah.
as if that, like, by our presence being in this thing, we can shed the light on the truth. But isn't it like the intrigue to be there at all? Isn't that being in the belly? Because if you're in the spirit, you wouldn't relate to the flesh. You wouldn't see it in a relative manner. And
Well,
it seems to me that if you like basketball, you go to a basketball game. If you hate basketball, you're not going to go there,
Yeah, exactly. Right. So discernment is very, very important. Discernment. Okay. You should be able to discern the group of people you're around. I'm not talking about sin. So you red penners, put your sin red, these red penners, boy, they got 50 red pens, and each one of them got a different word or phrase, or, it's like, okay, this is my red pen for sin. This is my red pen for, once saved, always saved. This is my red pen for Trinity and oneness. And they just can't wait to utilize their first of all, their red pen, the ink comes out different colors. It's not always red. I think the red comes out 1% of the time. 99% of the time, they're wrong on what they think they're correcting. So they're sitting there, think they're highlighting the whole paper, and there's only one red mark that's correct out of the 1,000 that's there. That's why I call them red penners. They're so focused on who can be wrong. I've had people tell me, you don't know everything. And I'm like, oh my God, how have you not already learned that in the sandbox? How have you not already learned that the only person that says you don't know everything is the one that hates that you do know everything? How have you not learned that? Have you not learned that yet? That when you tell someone you don't know everything, it's the little kid in you that is saying, I hate that you know everything. I hate that. So I must try to tell you that you don't know everything. You know, the old phrase that's been a country phrase since I was a kid. The kids only throw rocks at shiny things, man. And it's so true. The kid in you, it couldn't find something ugly to throw a rock at if it tried. But as soon as it sees something shining, it just wants to destroy it. Period. The end.
So true.
And I can see it. I see it I see you coming a mile away, man. I know the motive. I know what's really going on behind closed doors. And I'm sorry that you think someone that they don't know everything, or better yet, that you're not God. Like, oh my God, like I've never told someone you're not God. I've never told somebody, you don't know everything. Oh my gosh, dude. Maybe they do. Maybe the person does. Lord have mercy.
I hear it so much when somebody says, well, I have the Holy Spirit, therefore anything you say is wrong. And that
yeah, and so
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, it's this charge, and to me, it's this thing. I am right, so now you're gaslighting, and the flying monkey thing is what psychologists call it. But the once you say that, you completely disparage the position of the other person, and it's no longer a conversation. It's more like it's a judgment and condemnation.
Yeah. And again, guys, we've been talking about this for at least 10 minutes, and it's only because, Daniel came up bringing up a topic that I'm so familiar with. I know the topic very well, and he's talking about where God is, he's with the sons of God, right? And Satan. We're in the book of Job, and we're looking at this reality that's happening, right? And in heaven, and there's other people there with God. And it just boggles my mind that when someone personally gets a revelation, like God's not alone, they really believe that nobody else knows that. Oh, well, guys, God's not alone. I mean, it's kind of like getting a new, it's kind of like getting a new toy,
Well, they can't understand the passage in Genesis. This is where the problem came in, Trot. And I actually took them to that passage in Job because they were really talking about the passage in Genesis where the sons of God were knowing the daughters of men, right? And having offspring with them, right? But they were trying to say that those sons of God weren't the same sons of God mentioned in Job. And that's the problem. If you don't, like I said, if you don't understand fundamentally that those are angelic beings, right, that have came down from heaven and fallen from their estate, and now they're, knowing the daughters of men and having offspring, the great men of old, the men of renown, the Nephilim, if you will. And see, that's what gets me is they don't understand. They've got it in their mind twisted somehow. But you take them to like Job and clearly show that these are angelic beings that are going up before, the throne with Satan, which obviously is not something that's occurring on earth because the throne is not on earth. But you see the disconnect there, and that's just the problem. If they go into one passage but they twist it, and then you take them to other places that totally take their argument and throw it in the dumpster, but then they won't even agree with you over there, which clear as a bell is what it's saying there. It's mind-boggling. These people are on here doing lives all day long, Trot. They're on here for hours on end with different topics, twisting and missing it. It's just mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, and I've learned, man. For the past, now going on 11 years, man. Wow, when I first came to 10 years, 1 month, I'd be like, well, it's been 10 years or over 10 years now. So I'm about to start saying over 11 years, but I just come. It didn't take long, man. It just took me months. I'm not even kidding. It took me. I'm so glad that out of everything that has taken me so long to figure out in this world, I'm so thankful that it didn't take me but a very small handful of months to figure out that, Oh, so y'all just want to argue all day. Oh, okay. Well, all right, man. I went on live the other day, and I'm sitting there, and man, I'm telling you, I could give you a couple of people that were there that could confirm this. Bubba, I wasn't in that live maybe 1 minute, maybe. And I wasn't even on the panel, Bubba. I just went in there because I saw some familiar faces. I had at least for sure 5 or 10 minutes. I was out working on the property all day yesterday. And sometimes I do find some familiar faces. I'll hop on their live and I'll listen to what they're talking about. And that's all I was doing, and I was getting ready to go bowling. So there was no way that I was going to be able to come up. Like I was literally gonna, like in the next, I don't know, 20 minutes, I was literally gonna get in my vehicle, leave to go bowling. And so because of that, I'm not gonna go up on the live. I know myself. I can become very long-winded. It's no problem. And I definitely don't want to. No. And I definitely don't want to get. Yeah. Well, I definitely don't want to get on a topic, and start digging into something amazing and then say, oh, all right, guys, gotta go. I don't want to do that. So I'm like, hey, I can't come up. I said it from the get-go. I was probably in that room 10 seconds when I was like, hey, man, I'm about to go bowling and there ain't no way I can come up. Well, within a few seconds after that, some person is telling me hey, to be honest with you, I don't even remember what they're asking me. But when people start directly asking me questions in chats, I'm like, oh my Lord, like, it's so evidently clear why you're asking me questions right now. So, I mean, I'm not even going to explain what that is, but it's so clear. And I said, hey, man, I tell you what, go to Descaled in the morning and we could talk about it. They probably don't know the conversation is going to last 10 seconds, but we're still going to talk about it, And I said, hey, we could talk about it. Well, anyway, that wasn't good enough for them. So they request to come up so they can verbally call me out on why I'm not answering their question.
Oh, boy.
People in the chat were like, bro, he's not even up here. Oh, I don't care. I want him to answer me. And I'm like, bro, listen, guys, if you don't use discernment, you will be putting yourself in a very foolish position because you are too prideful to tell your flesh to shut up. You need to learn how to tell your flesh to shut up. You are not in charge. I'm not going to argue and debate with this person right here just because your feelings are hurt. And so I didn't want to have to go there with this person, but I mean, you have to at times. And so I texted a message and I put laughing faces because I'm dying laughing. I can't believe this person requested to come up just so they can directly verbally talk to me, who's in the comments, while these people are having a discussion. I was like, oh my God. So it's like, no, he don't never answer. This guy never answers me. And I'm like, okay. I said, hey, dude, I don't even know who you are. What are you talking? I mean, I put laughing faces on there because he needed to know like how serious I'm being about this conversation. You were making me laugh. I don't know who you are. What are you talking about? I'm not trying to be mean to the person. I'm trying to be completely honest here and say, bro, maybe you're mistaken. I don't know who you are. What are you talking about? And the question he asked, I don't even remember what it was. He's like, can you explain? And he said something. And I'm like, what? Explain what? And everybody goes, well, let me just say this. They're like, you're talking about Trot? Like, bro, Trot can explain that. What are you talking about? So maybe he got me confused with somebody else, man. I don't know. I try not to be rude, but I definitely was like, bro, I don't even know who you are. What are you talking about?
Mike Garcia said it was him.
Do what?
Mike Garcia said it was him.
It was Mike. Yeah. No, that's the thing. You have a certain limited amount of energy.
No, it wasn't Mike.
Yeah, he was joking. But you can't spend all your energy going back and forth with people on here. I learned the same lesson, and I'm like you said, I'm glad for all the lessons I've learned to not sit there and go back and forth, because that just drains your energy, right? It just mentally drains you. And I figured out, just let it go. Like, it doesn't matter. You're like you say, you're not going to convince them. They're not going to convince you. So just let it go. Conserve your energy for what you need to do. And but Trot, another thing, I appreciate you coming into Brother Devin's live the other day. He's a good young brother. There's not too many people on this app his age. He's only 21. But he's been trying to do lives. He really wants to help people along who are new believers and such. And and his lives aren't fancy or anything. He's not doing deep dives, but he's covering scripture every time, and he's having discussions on
Yeah.
his live, and he's just a good young brother. If this world had more 21-year-olds who are spending their time, opening up their life and going through scripture, and seeking mentors like myself and some others to kind of help him, because he's always in the Word, he's always studying, he's always bringing me questions.
Yeah. Well,
So we need more of that.
he invited me. He invited me up to his live just about every time that he. But I'm sure he's inviting 50 people. And plus it does help the algorithm to send out some invites and all this. And I can't always come up, and I can't even always listen. But if I can, and I know he doesn't act like a fool and lose his cool, so I don't mind going up there. And so one day, dude, I went up there. Matter of fact, it was the first time that I came across his live. And so I entered in and I'm listening. And the question behind him, which that question is usually behind him, it's like, I'm saved. What do I do now, or whatever? And so, I start texting answers, to him. And he's pretty good at reading comments, and he read some of my comments, and he's like, hey, Trot, are you saved? He's like, if you're not saved, man, you can come up and and you can be saved. And and I didn't even get to answer him before about 4 people are like, yeah, bro, Trot's saved. He does a live every morning. And he's like, hey, man, you do a live? He's like, you want to come up? And I was really just playing. And I said, well, if we talk about Jesus in the Old Testament, I'll come up. He's like, yeah, man, come on up. I'm like, all right. So I get up there, and there's people that shadow watch my lives. Like right now, there's probably about 100 of them or 200 that they better not touch that screen. They better not let somebody know that they're listening in.
Right.
And it's evidently clear who a lot of them are. I don't like giving away my secrets, but it's very clear who a lot of them are. But it is what it is. Man, I'll tell you right now, Bubba, when I came up there and started talking, I always do this. When I enter people's lives, Bubba, I'm going to look at the numbers as soon as I go in there. Mm-hmm. And I enter in there, and people are like, oh, well, it's everybody that you know. No. No. I check who's in there before I go in there. And so I go in there, and, you can't comment unless you touch the screen.
Right.
And so all you got to do is go to the bottom, or if they're not at the top and they come in there and try to enter 200 coins, they can get at the top to make it look like they didn't just enter. It ain't hard. Just pay attention to your screen. And there's about 5 people. Now, there was a few of them that were already in there, but I don't care. The guy invited me up, so I go up. But there were some people that were not in there. And I started talking, Bubba, they were at the bottom of the list, which means Bubba, as soon as they see me come up, they've been there shadow watching this guy's live. Mm-hmm. and they tap the screen. I see them pop in, and I go, man, it never fails, man. And so,
because I moderate for him, right? And, try to help him along, kind of weed out the, when you got that guy who believes he's John, the beloved disciple guy, you know what I'm talking about? You ran into him?
No,
that guy?
No, I don't know.
Oh, there's a guy who says he's John, the actual John. So you got to watch out for that guy. Yeah, he comes up and he gets all out of control. So I kind of moderate and kind of just keep an eye on the room, make sure stuff is safe, that the weed out the the weirdos or whatever. But yeah, it was cool. I was there that day. You came up, and I saw the room bounce up, and you invited him over to East Gulf, which is he's on East Coast time. He's out of school, so he goes to school in the afternoons. But yeah, he doesn't get up early. I think noon is his normal wake up time, right? Not noon, but But anyways, no.
Yeah, later in the day,
brother. Yeah, my
well,
point.
Let me say. Well, let me say what I was going to say. The whole point that I'm getting at. The whole point that I'm getting at is, again, they pop in there, and let me tell you, if y'all do not know, let me be the one to tell you that what do you call it? Christian scouting is a real thing. Okay, Christian scouting is the saddest thing I have ever seen. To me, it is worse than arguing like a bunch of fools.
Is that like
That's
a
the
tribal
level
thing?
of this. I'm gonna tell you what it is. If you don't know what a scout is, if you're listening in, a scout goes out to let's just use baseball as an example. All the sports have scouts, okay, and they go scout for who the best player is, and they see if they can afford the player and bring him to their team so it can help them win the Super Bowl. Okay? The difference with this is most of these Christian scouts, they don't work for anyone but themselves. and they try to like David Koresh people into whatever they're believing. Now, again, let me make myself clear. I'm not saying that these people are not saved and they're cultish. Don't twist what I'm saying. I'm saying their mentality is that they want to bring this like if all of us on TikTok are all individual churches and they're trying to win this person, instead of seeing all of us as one body, that they separate all of us, right? And they say, okay, those are the wolves in sheep's clothing. Those are the false prophets. Those are the David Koreshes. And they think that God put them on this earth to point out to all the stupid people of who the evil people are. So like nobody has the spirit. Everybody is stupid, but I'm smart. And I'm here to warn you. I'm here to warn you about so these are individual Christian scouts. And so they meet another Christian TikToker and they say to themselves, because they have some issues that they need to work out through their life, and they have what's called a thinking error that's called ownership. And so basically, if they have befriend this new Christian TikTok, they believe they own them. And so when Trot pops in the room, oh, no. Instead of we're all one body, one spirit, it's, dang it, everywhere I go, I can't get rid of this dude right here. They just can't stand when Trot comes in the room. So me and this guy's talking about Jesus in the Old Testament, and this person is blowing up, bro, the comments. He's not going to listen to your heresies, Trot. He's not. I mean, dude, I couldn't believe what I was reading coming out of it. It's like, he's not going to fall for your doctrine. I'm like, oh, my Lord. So immediately, bro, I noticed this. Immediately, bro, I noticed this, and I said, hey, guys, I said, don't forget that love never fails, okay? I said, please don't forget that love never fails. I said, also, don't forget that, love is a great equalizer. People forget that if you feel like someone is your enemy, more than likely, you still worship your belly. More than likely, you are not eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. More than likely, you are not where you need to be with Christ. And I don't mean whether you're saved or not. I'm saying mentally, you're still acting like a child because everybody's your enemy. Like if you're a 13-year-old gangster trying to figure out what color you setting. It's ridiculous, man. I couldn't believe it. And it's usually, or better yet, better than saying it's usually, but it happened again, right? Like it normally does. But it's because you brought up that person's live. It was the first time that I entered in there.
I remember that.
And I invited them to come. Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I understand he's on a different schedule. I didn't know that at first, and he did say, "Man, if I ever get up that early, I'll come join you." And hey, and if he does, great. But guys, I'm telling you, Christianity scouts, they're real. They have a thinking error called ownership, and they think that if they meet the new Christian that comes on TikTok that God put them in their life and God's going to save them and all these other things. And so when someone else enters the room, they'll try to deflect you away from them and tell them, they'll probably even, they'll go as far as DMing them, stay away. Remember, it's like, you're stupid and God sent me here to make you smart and you're too dumb to use discernment. So I'll be your savior. And I'll tell you, it's kind of like, if you've never watched Harry Potter, I heard people say Harry Potter's of the devil. Well, first of all, it's not that I watched them consecutively and I've seen all 70,000 of them, but I've seen parts of the Harry Potter shows, man. I've seen it. Okay. And I'll never forget. And I don't know, it's got to be one of the newer ones. It's either one, like part 1, 2, or 3 or something, because they're little, they're real little kids. And if you don't know who the Harry Potter character is, you should. He's like the main character. He's got glasses on, and he's got some weird little scar on his head. But anyway, some kid walks up to him in the movie, and he basically tells him, he's like, hey, Harry, you need to hang out with me so I can show you who not to hang out with. And you can tell Harry's like, because Harry tells him, well, I think I can figure that out for myself. And basically, Harry's like, yeah, I just found him. He's you. He's you. I should be hanging out because, I'm so, Harry's like, oh, so I'm so stupid and you're so smart that you're going to. And these people remind me of that they're just going to go save you. And, do what?
I had one of those when I moved here to this city, and we moved from Montana down here to Vegas. And when I got into 5th grade, the first thing this dude came up to me, exactly what you're saying, bro. And he was exactly that. Like, he was giving me the lay of the land because I was new,
Yeah,
he was saying, watch out for that guy. He'll steal your lunch money, and watch out for that guy. He's got, he doesn't take a bath. He's got, lice in his hair. And he was telling me the whole school, the teachers, the schedules. I was like you say, you look at him, you kind of look at him side eye, like, what are you, like, is this your job? Do they pay you? Are you like the concierge or what? How does this work?
And there's people, they haven't like been part of anything in their life. And you can tell because Christianity, quote unquote, is the only thing they've been part of. And so people who has already been through these stages can recognize those stages, right? So me being in high school, I ran track, I played football, played baseball. Bubba, if we had wrestling, I would have done it. If we had fishing, I would have done it, but we didn't have those things. But Bubba, I was all about playing sports. And so being young, playing in a sandbox, I learned all these little childish behaviors. I learned how to deal with them. I learned how to get over it. In sports, you have the same thing. There's councils in high schools. And I learned the politic part of it, that you're either going to be team this person or team that person. And it's not always the most popular person that wins, but sometimes it is. And, we know why that is. And we can go all the way through there. And because of these things that I've already lived through when I was a kid, as an adult, I recognize them 100,000 miles away. I can see him coming. It's the same attitude as Jennifer when she was mad at Tommy for this. And so they go, hey, y'all need to stop hanging out with Tommy. Yeah, don't hang out with Tommy. How are you 40 or however old you are, 35 or whatever? How are you this age and you still ain't learned that small thing as a kid you should have picked up on? Because the truth is you've never been part of anything. That's the truth. Because if you had, you would had already learned that this is not how you do it. That is not how you do it. If you don't have to warn somebody to stay away, don't you understand that people stay away from people because God is going to show them not to be around them? Are you serious? So people don't have the Spirit of God. People are just dumb and you're their savior. You don't have to tell them. Listen, who's telling me to stay away? I have never had anyone DM me and say, hey, stay away from. If they would have, I would have said, hey, brother or sister, you need to love them anyway. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. And a lot of people are too afraid to tell, if you have somebody telling you stay away from so-and-so, why don't you do the right thing and say, hey, why don't you love the person anyway? Oh, I do. No, you don't. You're gossiping. By you going to someone else's DM and telling them who to stay away from and all this, you're gossiping. That's all you're doing. There's not one person on this app. There's not one person on this app that can say that they have never done anything embarrassing in their life. There's not one. And if we went and pointed out everybody's embarrassing moments, there would be people who wouldn't hang out with each other on here. But when you're
100.
focused on your flesh will ruin every relationship that comes in your life, because you're only focused on what can I do to separate myself from this person. The Bible
Focusing
said
on the disagreement.
That's it.
What we
they
agree
say
on the cornerstone.
Jesus said, you'll know if they're my disciple because they know how to love one another. Love is a... Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead, Jessica.
Okay. I was just saying it goes back to the manipulation thing, because sometimes it's not even that the person's stupid. It's just that maybe the person's trying to figure out what somebody else is saying about them. Or because they have this thought that maybe they're talking about them behind. It's just all childish, and it's manipulative to find out information.
Oh, it is.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, but maybe.
No, it is. And so what? Maybe what?
Do it because some people are stupid, but it's just happened to me. So I would like to think it was for some other reason, but it could be because I'm stupid. But I don't know. I mean, it does happen to me on here, but I feel like sometimes they do it just to kind of get information. But I don't fall in that trap. I don't give information because there's not really any information to give. I'm not here for that. I'm here to learn, and
yeah. Do your
Isn't that
not just you, Jessica, but go ahead.
Isn't that like, because TikTok has emphasized, in my view, TikTok has emphasized the problems that exist in the spirit versus the flesh. And so the Bible says, where two or more are gathered in my name, there I am, because Jesus being the cornerstone, the foundation, if he's the one we all agree on, we have to go back to that, because there's going to be, like, my favorite color isn't blue, so how far can we get at saying we don't agree on this? And if that becomes our fixation, the Bible also says, how will two walk together unless they agree? So if we make it about just the thing we agree on versus the love of God that unites us and makes us one body with many moving parts, I think it's very, very simple if, like you said, use discernment. So people that are hyper fixating on if you don't agree with this, it's because you're out. I think that is, that, like you said, that is eating the dust, that is being of the belly.
Yeah, 100%. The focus should not be bring your immature gangster thug mentality and you're going to go around manipulating everybody. Like if you're Cleopatra, if you don't know the story of Cleopatra, let me say this. I'm not bringing up Cleopatra because it's a female. There's guys that do this too. Okay. The Bible don't talk about Cleopatra. Okay. So when you say I need to make a t-shirt that says the spirit of Cleopatra. All right. Okay. Not the spirit of Jezebel. We've already went over Jezebel. So this whole idea, the spirit of Jezebel, we've already went over what that is. A male or female, both can have the spirit, quote unquote, spirit of Jezebel. Okay. It's all about the flesh. That's all that's talking about. But I'm bringing up Cleopatra because the woman was a master of manipulation, dude. And there are people on this app and throughout your life that if you're not careful, they will eat your lunch because you're not focused on what they're doing. You're just focused on what they're telling you, but you're not focused on what they are doing. Okay. You should not be taking advice from people that are telling you to stay away from people. All this fear, be afraid, scared. No. You'll never hear me tell you. You know how many times people have DM me, hey, what do you think about this person? Or what do you mean to say? I don't know anything about them. Or I'm going to say, I've seen them around on TikTok. That's it. I am not going to say, oh, well, they believe that. I don't care what they believe. All I focus on is what God tells us to do, and it's to love them anyway. You know, it's funny. People are so quick to tell you who they hate, who they dislike, and why they dislike them. And you're sitting there listening to this junk instead of correcting them and saying, hey, shouldn't you just love them anyway? Let that be the powerful tool that you bring to their table, because obviously they don't have it. Why don't you be a help to them when they think that you're so stupid that they're going to help you with anything? Why don't you give the tool that God gave you, which is your heart, and notice they don't know how to use theirs? Why don't you correct them and say, actually, brother or sister, you're the one that's in the wrong. This person is saved. They're a brother or sister of Christ, and you need to love them anyway. And then tell them, isn't that what the Bible tells us to do? And if they say, oh, well, I am. So you're going to allow their words to make you believe that they are loving them. That's not love. Gossip is not love. Telling you, watch out for this snake. Watch out for this sheep, brother. Listen, people should be able to see that themselves. If they can't see that themselves, then obviously we need to talk about it. But I haven't met anyone on TikTok that can't figure out who's wrong on what side. I haven't met that person. I haven't seen. I'm not saying they're not on here, but I haven't met them. I've seen a lot of people that are hungry for the word and they want to learn, and that's it. That's what I've seen. But to bring your childish thug gangster politics into Christianity and you hide it under the name, oh, I'm just warning them about these people, and you're just going around backbiting all the other Christians, your thug life needs to come to an end. What we need to do is we need to love one another. That's how you can tell if someone is a disciple, because they use love as an equalizer. They just love you anyway. They may have a personal opinion on you, but that's where it needs to stay. It needs to stay personal. That way it can eat up on them, and they have a choice to make. They can hate you and murder you in their imagination, or they can decide to love you. But to start spreading that that poison around, like when I went up on Devin's Live and they were like, they're not going to listen to your devil doctrine. I'm like, oh my Lord, it never fails.
I remember that. That was hot in that.
The Christian, the Christian mafia shows up, boy.
Oh man! but you know what it is these people draw these hard lines right in the sand, and if you're not, you're on my side or you're on the other side, and you're exactly right. If you and I sat down for a whole day, right, we opened up the Word and we started discussing what the meaning was of this and that, I'm sure after about an hour or two, we'd pretty much be at, loggerheads. I'm sure we'd have some disagreements on some stuff. Now, I'm sure we would agree on quite a bit, but I'm sure we would have some things where we would maybe see it a little differently. And if we did the whole Bible, from beginning to end, I mean, I'm sure by the end of the day, we'd have very many points where we were maybe diametrically opposed on. But at the end of the day, it's, do we decide, hey, even though we don't agree on these positions, but do we still love each other? Are we still able to shake hands and say, hey, man, that was a good study, brother. I never, you showed me something I never saw, or I don't agree with you on that, but hey, we're still cool. We're still here to serve the body of Christ, and we serve it in different ways. But these people make it like we're going to find things to disagree on, and then that's what we're going to argue about. We're not going to come together. We're going to find something, and we're going to go to the death arguing about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I tell you, man, in my family, I had, they've passed away now, but I've had lawyers in my family on obviously one side of them. And, you get a get together and they'll debate and argue all day long. The only difference they're not pointing the finger and, chopping each other up with machetes, right? But they do it in a way that you're like, I could sit here all day. Like, I could sit here all day listening to you smart people. Here I am, 12 years old, and I'm like, well, what does that word mean? What are y'all talking about? You get a little older and you're just like, wow, like, what is that called that y'all are doing? So, well, that's a debate. This is called a debate, what we're doing. And I'm like, I don't hear anybody yelling or arguing. So I always say, don't get me wrong. There is nothing wrong with a debate or an argument. In courtrooms, they're called arguments. That's what they're called. There's nothing wrong with that. It becomes wrong for two reasons. One, people start screaming and slapping each other around because they're too childish to even talk about it, number one. Number two, it's going on for 3 hours. And it's not just 3 hours, it's 3 hours every day, and it's been 5 years. Listen, it's no longer a debate or an argument when there is no resolution and the people that you put in the courtroom change every day. I don't know what you think that is, but it's nothing but a Jerry Springer show because there's never a rerun. It's always different slow people that can't figure out how to add, sitting there yelling at each other for no particular reason other than creating a show. That's all you're doing. And then the other one is Royal Rumble, WWE, enter the ring at your own risk. That's what they need to say. All these lives that say, we're going to talk about this subject. There needs to be a big ring in the background, and it needs to say enter at your own risk, because that's all it is. And there needs to be a bunch of snakes in there, not because I think any of those Christians are snakes, but because, like, you're going to get bit and stung in here if you come in here, period. It doesn't matter what you believe, because remember, they're going to follow.
One question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. To me, and I prayed about this at length because, like I said, my experience when I came to TikTok as like a baby believer, like eating colostrum, the idea to be drawn into these conflicting or the conflicting lives, the conflict that exists within them, to me, the Lord showed me that desire is because of the unresolved conflict in you. But in me, you will have peace. And if you're in the peace of Christ, you'll see that as wolves and a blood battle, versus if you're in the peace of Christ, you'll discern that too, versus the biting and devouring of one another.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? See, Jerry Springer show, WWE, they're only entertainment to your flesh. Your spirit's not sitting there clapping its hands every 30 seconds. It's your belly. It's your flesh, your emotions that loves to sit there and worship people beating each other up. Period. The end. You have to come into agreement and understand and be honest with yourself that the reason that these shows have all these people watching them is because people worship their belly. That's why. That's the reason. It's entertaining. Now, I'm not saying that Christians don't watch the show. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that returning to your vomit, that's what you're doing when you're constantly entertaining the flesh instead of focusing on your other belly, right? Because the one you focus on the most, that's the one you're going to do. So people watch Jerry Springer. They watch WWE. It's all fake. Some of it's real, but a lot of it's fake. Then they get on TikTok, and guess what? Guess what taught them how to be a certain way? What has been training them how to be a certain way? The shows that they're watching. So they turn their live into that show. They just use the Bible. It's the exact same thing. On Jerry Springer, you are the Father. On TikTok, it's Jesus, you are the Father, or Jesus, you are not the Father. It's the same belly that's feeding the entertainment. They're just taking the Bible and they're doing their own DNA test, and they're just, it's the same action. and then after a while, after 30 minutes, ding, 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 I win, you lose. There was 50 y'all in this ring. I kicked all you out. I win, ding, 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 WWE.
Their favorite line is, I don't know how many people's in here. I don't pay attention to that.
Oh my God.
Well, the line, here's the thing that's crazy is there's that argument, but then you go to some of these really, really far out there Hebrew Israelite doctrines, and they say that Joseph literally is Jesus' biological father. That's what they're espousing to their people. And then they go, well, and you show them all the scriptures that just totally negate that position, and they twist it into this whole thing that it's not. And I mean, it's literally that trot where it's like you're saying, though. It's like, like they want the conflict, and there's even the conflict over that very subject.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's why I'm saying exactly what I'm saying now. There's nothing wrong with having the topic, right? So we've been talking about this for at least an hour, I think. So there's nothing wrong with having the topic, right? So the topic is, when people come to you and they're trying to warn you about whoever, you need to start putting up some red flags and warning yourself, who the heck is this person? Why are they warning me about people? Well, I mean, it ain't hard. It is possible that they could be telling you the truth. Absolutely. And it's also possible that they're like Cleopatra and just sowing bad seed and try to just cause division. I tell people that are new to TikTok, I was like, listen, do what the Bible tells you to do and just love people, okay? Make sure you do that. Obviously, this is not new. Golly, if you haven't learned in elementary school, junior high, or high school, if you haven't learned in those stages in your life that you're going to have little Mary with pigtails come up to you, stay away from Susie. Susie's mean. And you're like, oh, well, I better stay away from Susie. And you just joined the bully club. Everybody's always bullying old little Susie or whatever, whatever the kid, Scarlet, whatever the kid's name is. Everybody, and you don't even realize you just joined the bully group. You know why? Because you don't know how to defend. Hold on, you don't know how to defend yourself. You need to defend yourself and say, actually, maybe I might stay away from you now. I don't know. Why would you? I have a brain. I'm not stupid. You think I'm stupid or something? Like, obviously they do. If someone is always coming up to you and trying to warn you, I'm telling you right now, based on training and experience in life and in training, they think you're stupid. Now, if it's your spouse, I'm not talking about them. That's different. Y'all live together. Y'all know each other. Y'all know each other like the back of your hand. And sometimes your spouse can see some things, and so if you think I'm talking about your spouse, nice try. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about other people. It can even be your parents, your grandparents. Everybody plays the games. And yes, it could be your spouse. Absolutely. Your spouse can be doing it too. But the reason why I'm taking that one off the table is because y'all live together, and sometimes your spouse could be telling you the truth. Could. Okay. I'm not going to say your spouse always tells you the truth, but it's possible. I mean, the person married you, so it's possible. But I'm telling you right now, if your spouse is telling you to stay away from Christians and not love them, you still need to defend yourself and say, hey, we're supposed to love them anyway. I'm not saying go hang out with them and eat bonbons and cream pies. I'm not telling you to do that with them. But what I am saying is you're supposed to love them. Okay? So you're supposed to defend people when someone is not there to defend themselves. You're supposed to defend them and say, hey, man, that person's not here. If you have a problem with them, you need to take it up with them. But sitting here gossiping with everybody about it, we're not in junior high. Okay? You should have already learned in junior high that, the reason why the girls don't like you is you don't know how to shut your mouth. You should have already learned that. Or boys, whatever the issue is, and that's the problem. That's what I'm learning. Day by day goes by, I'm learning who was part of something and who was never, because I can see the old mistakes that I saw being made when I was in junior high. People still ain't learned from them. They're still doing the same old junk. And that is returning back to your vomit. You still ain't learned how to love people. Instead, you're trying to teach people how to separate. The Bible tells you you're not supposed to teach people to sin. Okay? You're not supposed to teach people to sin. And I'm not talking about how we all sin. I'm talking about division. That is what I'm talking about. Okay? We're supposed to learn from our mistakes. You're not supposed to continue to do the same thing. Okay? I've made all the mistakes. So don't think I don't understand. Trust me, I've made all the mistakes. There ain't something you can name that I haven't done. Okay? Now, of course, obviously, I've never, pushed a button, shot a nuke, and blew up. I'm saying that every little, but I'm saying that, the basic stuff, man, I've done them all. But we were supposed to learn somewhere along the way. We were supposed to learn, like, oh man, you know what? That ain't the way. That ain't the way to do that. Going around backbiting and gossip, bro, that's never been the way. And now you're a Christian, you're still doing it. Let me just say it. What's wrong with you? Let me just say it that way. What is wrong with you? Why are you still doing this? How have you still not learned that that's not Christianity? That's not what Christ taught. You need to teach people to love people anyway. Just love them anyway, man. All right? I say it all the time. We're all in this together.
Amen.
Period. If you're saved, we're one body, one spirit. How does it make any sense to cut off part of your own body? How does that make any sense? That's why Jesus, when he was talking to the disciples said, hey, we saw a man casting out demons in your name, and they rebuked them. And Jesus said, oh, okay. Oh, they offended you? Oh, okay. Well, next time your hand offends you, cut it off. Next time your eye offends you, pluck it out. What Jesus is telling them is they're part of your body. What are you doing? That makes no sense. They're either with us or they're not. So if another Christian is part of the body and there's something about him you don't like, don't you understand that it's you that needs to suck it up? It's you. Quit bringing everybody into your sad reality that you created in your own imagination. You're getting destroyed by Satan. You have fear, this irrational fear that is causing you to hate people rather to love them, and you're going around spreading the poison. Have you not learned nothing yet? It's time to grow up, take your thumb out of your mouth, and start learning how to love people instead of division. Or you still don't notice Satan is in charge of that. So, with that being said, guys, it is 11:30. We usually get off at 10.
Yeah.
So everybody
I'm
can
sorry I
either
kept you late. Hey, thanks
everybody
for
can
having me up.
everybody.
Always a good talk, brother. I'll drop down, Trot, and let you close out.
No, I was. Hey, hold on, Daniel. I was going to say everybody can either blame or thank Daniel. One or the other.
You, sir.
Thanks, Daniel. God
I'm a
bless you,
professional
brother.
under the bus being thrower, so I'm trying out for that. I'm actually trying to get my certification in that. So yeah, but no, hey, always a good talk with you, brother. Thanks for having me up. I don't plan these things out. I just kind of go where I'm led, and I just.
Oh man, it's no big deal. Today, actually, when I saw you kind of come in at the last minute, I literally said, well, heck, like I mean, I'm sure I can find something to do, but I had something planned to do around this time. Okay. So the extra hour wasn't gonna hurt anything. It's no big deal.
I was just worried. I saw the boxes were cleared, so I figured maybe either the alert from yesterday turned all of your followers into zombies, which was bad, or B, somehow they were a part of a pre-trib rapture that I wasn't anticipating.
Yeah.
So I was just making sure.
Yeah, no.
All right, love you, brother.
Yeah,
I love everybody in the chat.
Absolutely, man. Anytime. Next time I see you up, Daniel. Next time I see you up on Devin's Live. Matter of fact, next time you go on Devin's Live, I don't even know if you're still in here, but if you are, just send me a request, and I'll hop and probably say hi for about 5 minutes. No, I put my phone in the microwave. Oh man, y'all are silly. All right, guys. Hey man, God bless. Okay, Daniel, thank you. God bless, guys. Hey, Big, Jessica, Aaron, if y'all got something to say, man, say it now or forever hold your peace.
I was just going to say thanks for going the extra mile, man. That was cool today. I think it's very important, and that don't be the backbiters and devourers. That's it. Don't be the one that devours one another, and instead go back to Christ. That's it.
Right. So, yeah. So basically, the nucleus of the last hour of Descaled today was just wait for them to come, because they will. And when they will, why don't you throw the proper correction at them and tell them, why don't you love that person anyway? That's what we need to start doing, so we can maintain wholesome. We can maintain idea of that we are all one body, rather than we're all individuals, all in this individual. We're all in this together. And if you are not going to take care of the body by telling someone to love the other person, then what part of this body are you any good of? You need to do the right thing and tell people to stop hating and start loving people anyways, because love is the great equalizer. And God is love, and that's what we're supposed to use. We're not supposed to use Satan.
Amen.
So,
amen. Praise God.
All right. So God bless, guys. See y'all in the morning.
God bless. Thank you, sir.